And they're off. It's another ClevelandMoto podcast. We're in Coronacast number 3. That means that we've had 3 of these silly Zoom, I'll take
Brady Bunch.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take C. Nelson Riley to block, please.
There's T in the middle. T wrote down lit.
What is the all right, so I think we had some weird audio coming in from Steve.
For me?
Yeah, now you're good. Sound great. So last Saturday, you guys all got to go take a ride.
Yes.
While I had to work. Yeah, that was awesome.
Well, wait, we saw you while we were riding, and you were working and riding. So
yeah, it was pretty funny because I had just gone down to the Key Bank. I'd gone down to Key Bank to do the payroll protection plan. SBA, the loan that they do for the businesses now, for the small businesses.
Did you get your money yet?
What's that?
Did you get your money yet?
Oh, God, no. In fact, they did, but I have been tracking it. So I will give you the brief wrap-up of how fucked up the system is right now. I attempted to go and sign up for 3 days straight on Chase, JP Morgan Chase, the people that took, I think, the most money in the bank bailout. Yep. Mm-hmm. And they made it virtually impossible for you as a member or a business account at Chase to get any funds out of this program because they just couldn't seem to sync up their form with the SBA. So as somehow...
Mar-a-Lago got their money.
What's that?
Mar-a-Lago got their money.
Oh, sure they did. Well, so what I had found out, though, was that despite Chase not operating all day long, Bank of America was writing proper loans. So, but all these things, you have to be a business member of their bank to make it happen. So we have a friend that works at, actually James' sister, works at Key. So I literally hauled my ass down on Saturday and started a business account at Key just so I could go online and sign up for the payroll protection plan as a Key account holder. So we have gotten feedback from Key that it is moving forward. So it's a funny thing because it would actually be more lucrative for James and Renee and my staff to take the unemployment at $600 a week for 4 months than it is for me to not unemploy them and take 2.5 months of payroll protection.
And so why did you do what you did?
Because they don't want to go on unemployment. They'd rather keep working. And even though financially it would actually, I think it would benefit them if they did take the unemployment, but they just ethically, go figure, the people that work for me have fucking scruples.
That's a mistake.
It is a mistake. And I think financially we were able to prove that it would be in their best interest to cease employment and take the unemployment benefit. John?
Well, Wall Street bankers appreciate their honesty.
Can I chime in here and say,
go ahead, John.
Would it be out of the realm of possibility to collect the unemployment and continue working?
Uh-oh.
That would have to be voluntary.
Hypothetically, right? This is not, we're not condoning this, but hypothetically.
I would ever do such a thing.
No.
You guys know that I've been volunteering at my shop for 19 years.
Lakewood, Ohio, saying that.
Yeah. I've been volunteering.
I was reading a little bit about that, and they were talking that it was also supposed to cover, there were some expanding it to cover like people who are self-employed and some people who aren't normally covered by it. But I don't know if you as an owner of a business, probably not, still going to get screwed probably.
As a 1099er or something, they haven't really, I haven't talked to anybody who's a 1099 employee yet who has managed to make the system work. But what I can tell you is that as the owner of the company, it is absolutely out of the question.
So, it might even pay for you to just go, and it's a pain in the ass right now, but just try to sign up for unemployment, even if you get denied.
I did.
Yeah, just because you never know what might come down the pipeline, and they might.
It's pretty funny.
All of a sudden, you get a check.
I got an initial denial that said we need more information.
Yeah.
And when the form came back and it said more information, it literally said, "Okay, show us where you are not the owner of the company. Prove to us that you're not the owner of the company." I can't prove that I'm not the owner of the company.
But so is every person who's self-employed. They are the owner of the company.
So you said, look at this haircut. You can tell I'm not the owner of the company.
This was the official fuck you. Yesterday morning, I decided that I needed a haircut in the worst way, and this is the worst way. So
I told Beth the second they open barbershops back up, I'm cutting the front, I'm cutting the sides, and I'm leaving the back long, and I'm fully committing to the mullet.
Yeah.
Whether or not Vintage Days happens this year.
Well, I think you should start now, Cam.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've started growing it. You can see I've let it get long in the back.
Oh yeah, it's getting long in the back.
So I just have to trim the sides up in the front and get.
He just works out for me because my bald spots go all the way back. So it's pretty natural for me to be able to do this haircut, whether I want to or fucking not.
It's funny though that
it looks like a Godzilla spine.
It is a Godzilla spine.
Widow's peak is what they call that.
Well, except for my widow starts way to fuck back here. Yeah.
I still think it's funny that Cam's excited about getting a mullet where we've spent probably 20 years of our lives trying to hide all of our high school pictures so nobody can see our mullets.
Yeah. Every picture of me that exists with something resembling a tail.
Yeah, I remember those weird haircuts. I mean, I'd never had the mullet, but I had the long hair, and I had the mushroom. I don't know if you guys remember. That was just super like buzz cut on the side and the stupid stuff.
The hockey hair.
No pictures at all.
Yeah. We want to see that again there, Oscar. Come on, run it out, baby.
Yeah. I had a tight curl perm. I actually had a
perm.
Yeah, it was like at the height of Michael Jackson. I had the jacket and everything.
Not
a good look on me.
I will bring pictures someday. I have one picture somewhere. It'll take me a while to find. But I was dating this African-American girl. This is back a long time ago. And her aunt did braids. And so I had about 3-inch long hair. And she was like, you'd look good with braids. So I went to his aunt's house. And her aunt did like full braids in my hair. And like the thing is that she did it so one side was longer than the other. So I looked like Queen Latifah. It was like terrible, man. Not a proud moment in my life.
Oh my God, man.
Steve, does she still talk about that or no?
I don't know. I'm sure she's like, this dumb white boy came. Oh, and then she was asking me, are you a tenderhead? And I said, I have no idea. What's a tenderhead?
Tenderhead.
She put her foot on my shoulder and started pulling my hair to make the braids, and that's how tight they were. So for like 2 days, I couldn't even sleep on my head. It hurt so bad. It was like someboody was pulling your hair the whole time.
God, checking your follicles or what?
It just
never heard that term.
You're a tender head now.
Yeah.
Wow. What she said.
That's a term.
There's today on the shop playlist, we decided for some strange reason the in-store playlist has been very strange because we don't have any customers. And this whole idea of the in-store playlist is now allowed to be as rowdy or weird or whatever the hell we want it to be. It is truly no holds barred. And today was a roller skate boogie 1980.
Yeah.
And
nice.
It is a fantastic playlist.
Ducks up.
Oh, it's frickin' great. And the strangest thing is the Commodores song Sail On.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? That song, it's hilarious because what is it? It's Lionel Richie and it's James Ingram, right?
Yeah.
And they're singing a song in an honest-to-God Tennessee cowboy twang. Because that's the days of like Urban Cowboy, when like everything was fucking cowboy, even rap, like, or even like soul. And if you watch the video, these guys have got fringe hanging on all their jackets. They're wearing cowboy boots. They're wearing like bolo ties, but it's like totally disco, sequin, amazing shit, bell bottoms. But you listen to the song, and the song, I spent my entire life thinking that this song was recorded by white people, not just white people, country white people. And today when that song came on, I was like, oh, that's kind of a weird for a roller boogie song. And then I looked at the screen and it's fucking Lionel Richie. And he's singing like, sail on down the line, yeah. Funny how it used to grind. And I'm like, those are black dudes. How the hell did that happen? So when you guys have some free time, listen to that song. Close your eyes and tell me if you can't picture fucking, Nugent-looking dudes, Willie Nelson-looking dudes, the Outlaws looking dudes, Jesse Coulter and Chris Christopherson singing that song.
So on one of my many old school funk and R&B kicks that I get on way more often than I'd like to admit, that song popped up and I thought like Spotify had fucked up until I did the same thing you did, and I looked and I'm like, that's the Commodores.
It's the Commodores, man.
Maybe there's a different Commodores.
Yeah.
No, it's the same guys.
And it is seriously.
What's the name of the song?
Sail On.
Sail On by the Commodores. Oh. Yeah. And that is like, not kidding, it is the craziest. There's no better way to put it. It is, I'm going to go ahead and throw the screen up just because it's insane. Go ahead. Take a look at that picture.
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Okay.
I remember that.
The cowboy hat with the frickin' Ray-Bans and the giant feathers.
I had no idea Richard Petty was in the Commodores.
Exactly. I mean, this
4 Grammys, 7 Winston Cup championships.
Yeah, and like their outfit and everything. When you get a chance and you take a look at that video, you are just going to be like, wow, they are actually wearing cowboy boots. Like, no screwing around. They're wearing cowboy boots and they're wearing fringe. It's a very strange time in Seoul, Yeah, pretty crazy shit.
Doesn't Renee always want to put some reggaeton in the background?
Oh, constantly. Yeah. And that's not even like, that's not for this special occasion. We just call that Friday. Like that's normal playlist Friday. They'll be like listening to Bad Bunny and shit.
Look at Lionel Richie's hair.
Well, the funny thing is all my family members in like 1978, all the guys in my family had that same haircut.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of white dudes with fros. Yeah.
That's probably about when I had mine.
I want to see pictures of you, John.
Shit.
My mom has them somewhere. I'd have to look at them, but there's some special ones out there. I couldn't afford to buy the red Michael Jackson jacket.
The leather jacket? Yep.
I had the tan. But it was like, okay. Yeah. That was at the beginning of breakdancing when everybody wanted to be a breakdancer.
Oh, really?
I was one of them.
Can you finger tut?
Breakdance.
Can you do the finger tutting? Everybody can finger tut. I mean, I can't presently, but
you grew up in the suburbs when your friends went to breakdance class.
Oh, really? Holy
such a
shit!
In like 1987, dude, this kid Lance, he was kind of like a athletic dude or whatever. He did like we all went to summer class, like woodworking summer camp or something. He went to summer camp breakdancing school, and then he came back popping and locking, and he had the parachute pants. I was so jealous.
I remember back. I used to have. I don't know if you guys remember the cap with the 2 flaps on the side.
Oh, yeah.
So you can flip them on the top to do the helicopter.
The safari cap.
Owned it. Yep. Wow. That or the camo or whatever.
Hey, John, what was that? What college did you go to and play ball?
Mercyhurst College in Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Mercyhurst. I found that picture from you.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that fro looks good, dude. It's a good looking fro. I got to give you credit, man.
Nice, John. You
got that going on.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I know there's a couple of pictures where my dad's a giant man, and my dad had a big fro, giant mustache, big, giant beard. And we had matching sport coats, like that were the plaid sport coats. They were identical, and there's a picture of me sitting on his lap, and I can't be more than 4 or 5 years old, and it looks like a horrible ventriloquist dummy combination. And I will talk to my mom, and I will get that picture, and I'll post it up somewhere, because it's just it's precious and horrible, and you understand why I get hit a lot as a kid.
There's a picture of my dad when we went to Disney World in like 95. Which one's in Florida, Disneyland or Disney World? It's Disney
World.
Yeah.
World.
all the pictures of us, we're all wearing all of our Cleveland sports memorabilia, like just total assholes.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And my dad has a full tracksuit, white sneakers, a full bright blue and orange Cleveland Cavs tracksuit, and a blue and orange Cleveland Cavs cap that had the green bottom on the cap. Oh, I want to upload that picture so bad. Like, even at Disneyland, the drip never takes a back seat.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get it.
I have to hold this cat here because otherwise, whenever I'm sitting at the bar and I'm podcasting, she starts screaming. And if you listen to any of my older podcasts, you can hear her. So I have to hold her like a baby. So
really?
Yell and scream and get picked up on mic.
I like that cover story for the child that's going to be screaming in the background now. Right. For the record, here we go.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So let's keep our fingers crossed for this one, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I no guarantees, but let's keep hoping.
Because Ohio started doing the right thing so soon, I'm hoping that we're one of the first states to start to return to some degree of normalcy. I think there's going to be another couple months of people being very cautious, but I think by the time it gets to vintage days, I think we'll be in good shape. I'm optimistic.
I think that just means that we're going to be the first state to come out of hiding and then have like the second giant spike.
Yeah.
Second wave.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just in time for vintage days.
Yeah, we'll get our second wave and go into a deeper lockdown while everyone else is getting released. And then when we get released, they'll bring their we'll get a third wave. Because sometimes it's not always good to be first.
True.
Sometimes it's better to be really late sec. Yeah.
Maybe they'll let us in mid-Ohio, but you have to wear a full face helmet the whole time.
I think that's a great idea.
That's a wonderful idea.
Perfect thing for go.
I won't wear anything else.
Everybody just running around with gas mask on and stuff like that.
I feel like an idiot. I tried to buy gas masks. I had an opportunity like back in January to buy old Israeli gas masks, and they're dirt cheap because they sell them as props for people, because in Israel they have a gas mask for every man, woman, and child in the country and a selection of filters. And the manufacturers put, the filters are just activated charcoal.
Right.
But they put expiration dates on the filters because otherwise they would go out of business after they made the first batch of them.
Exactly.
So, every 6 or 7 years, I guess they rotate these things out. And
same reason Honda Civics rust out.
Right. So they're so plentiful that they'll sell them at places like Rural King for like $20.
Yeah,
and
$20.
I had a shot at for $50. I would have been set on gas masks for me and Beth and filters and everything.
Yeah. And I've got 2 of them in my hall closet right now. Yeah,
and now you can't touch an Israeli gas mask for less than $100 without the filter. I think
funny because I've got 2 military U.S. Army M17A2s, and those I paid like $40 or $50 a piece for. But the Israeli ones are so much better.
Well, the M17A2 they stopped using in like the mid '90s, didn't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's an older design. Does it still use the standardized cartridge though?
It does.
Okay.
So it's the standard cheap cartridges. So they're cheap. They're easy to get.
I think that's just one you can't take off and put on with one hand. I think the style.
Yeah, but it does have the drinking tube, so that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
How does that work? You have to put that into like a sealed pouch.
Yeah.
Because you can't leave it in open air, right? Like
no. So it has you guys are gonna love this. It has an actual Schrader valve on it.
Huh.
So it's got a straight up legit Schrader valve. So you have a special cap for your canteen, and the cap for your canteen has a Schrader valve built into it.
Is that a move? Like, if it's really bad, you can go up to a car and just tap into a tire and suck the air. Get pressurized air that way.
That's it. That's your built-in respirator right there. So, yeah.
I found. So this is my sixth or seventh worst haircut. There's many worse than this, but check this. This is pretty bad. Look at this.
Oh, look at you.
Whoa.
Children of the Corn.
Yeah.
Man.
Enough of that.
What was the date on that one, Steve? Does that look like an 08?
2003, thank you.
2003? Oh, man.
You look like a dude in R.I.P.D. Did you watch that show?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Rip. Right, yeah.
What did I do?
Yeah, but you look at that picture.
High school graduation
out your beard.
Yeah.
You look at Ryan Reynolds. Oh, is that his name? What's his
Everything
name?
stopped.
I don't know. This is that guy. He's that guy.
There's a lot worse. There's a lot worse you could be compared to than Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. Well, believe me, I can find some other pictures, and you can make fun of me a lot more. I've had some interesting things going on.
That's a lot nicer than what I was going to say about your photo, which is I was going to say you look like a guy that wrote for RC car magazines in the early mid 2000s. But that's just me player hating. That's just me being jealous.
There you have it.
I probably grew up reading your articles now that I think about it.
Oh yeah, I'll find a how to, there's still a how. So I did a video one time of how to paint a Lexan body, and I did it for a company I was working for, and it has like, I don't know, 600,000 views on it or something. I got donut out of the whole thing.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Is it Proline?
No, it was I worked for RC Groups,
Okay.
like the world's largest remote control website.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember if I've seen this video or not.
I don't know. I was much more in shape as when I was racing bikes, so it was interesting.
Yeah, but it like really freaked me out the first time we met because I'm like, I've seen you someplace.
That's probably it. Yeah, could be.
You guys want to see what I got at the shop today?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was kind of special. This came in today. I'll bring this one up in just a mo. There you go, guys. So that is the Polon Zero DSR Police Edition.
Oh, cool.
Oh.
We got that in. We built that. Got that all ready. That's going to the Cleveland Metroparks Police Department.
Awesome.
And, silent but deadly. And I shot a video today. So we had, all the silly videos we shoot at the shop. So I shot a silly video with that thing. The siren system on that thing is fucking mental. It's as loud as it needs to be. I'm going to have John, you got to come by the shop and check it out. It's really super. I mean, the cool thing about it is the whole bike, it has the regular 14.4 battery, but it also has the 3.6 battery up in the gas tank. So it has a 208 mile range.
Wow.
So it's really a cool bike.
So is that the first one for them just to try it out to see if they want some more? Or?
Yeah, this is kind of the way it works. We've had 3 police departments now that we've sold these electric motorcycles to, these Zeros to. And curiously, they all take the DSRP because it's also available as an FXP. But the DSRP is like $25,000, and which sounds like a lot of money, but it is chicken scratch compared to the BMW. And
how long do you think until Harley Davidson tries to make a police version of the live wire?
I have no idea. I really don't know. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I don't know where Harley Davidson is going with the live wire if they plan on continuing that project. If they're going to continue supporting it and really committing to it, because they have not had the perfect launch. They've had a soft launch that is now going right into COVID. So
I'd like to, I think I don't want to be too, what's the word I'm looking for here? Too cynical, but I do think they're going to try to use COVID-19 as an excuse to maybe get that off the books for next year.
Oh, everybody else, every little business that was right on the bubble is like, the COVID.
Polpetto went out of business, so there you go.
Graceful exit for a lot of people.
Oh my God, Kromke!
Wow.
Holy shit! Oh my God!
I'm pretty sure I saw you in the backing band, Kromke, of who is it?
I think he was in the Blues Brothers.
No, I was going to say he looked like he was in the late 70s iteration of Dr. Hook as I saw them.
Yeah, there you go.
George Sugarman's Midnight Special.
Wow.
Or ELO.
Yeah,
I was in ELO.
I'm pretty sure he was in ELO. Yeah, that's.
Back in the day, I used to actually I would take a shower and I would just jump on the motorcycle and go for a ride. I wouldn't even comb my hair.
Oh, really?
Just to dry my hair. Yeah.
This looks vaguely familiar. Yeah. Might be the same guy. I don't know.
It looks like he could be in the River Bottom Nightmare Band from Emmett.
Yes, he does. He's actually, turns out that's what happens when you put a Muppet into the humanifier. You've been scared of being turned into a Muppet by accident, but what happened if a Muppet actually got turned into a human? Yeah.
What happens if you put a human in the humidifier? They turn into a Muppet?
Mm-hmm.
So Dan, did you had to like curl your hair, right? Because it looks pretty straight now. Like, were you permanent?
I mean, it varies. It's like right after I wash it, it's kind of curly, and the length straightens the upper part up.
It does. Yep. Not that I would know, but yeah, it does.
Dan, can I smell your hair right now?
6 feet apart.
Okay. Yeah, that smells good.
Your hair smells terrific.
Now I don't know if you guys knew this, but Dan's first shop, the first place Dan ever worked. If it doesn't have a DD on the sleeve, it's just underwear. Yeah.
It did make good
I'm like 2 feet taller than Daffy Dan is.
You are, yeah. Daffy, yeah. Dan's not super tall, like not you, Dan. Daffy Dan. He's but it's funny because how far are you guys apart in age? Because he's got to be like 70 now, right?
Yeah, I think he's about 10 years older than me.
Yeah, he's about 70 now. And, growing up with his stuff, kind of growing up with going in and buying a Daffy Dan's t-shirt. And when they ask you how you wanted the DD on the sleeve, you could either get like the little DDs or you could get the full-on Daffy Dan head. And so like you're like, fuck yeah, I want the full-on Daffy Dan head.
Big on double Ds. There you go.
Because it's free, Yeah. So if you got the, if you're going to get it for free, give me the big one, man, So every one of their T-shirts had the DD or the Daffy Dan head on the sleeve.
Yep. Have you ever seen his house? He lives out on Caves Road, out near, like on the way to Chagrin Falls, kind of out.
I didn't know that.
Chardon, I think. I mean, actually, Chardon.
Really?
It's a giant. Not giant. I mean, it's big. It's got to be about 7,000 square feet, but it's like a big brownstone kind of building or house.
Sure.
It had the DD on the gates. So like his gates kind of.
Oh, it does. Yeah. Really?
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
Wild.
Get a T-shirt.
Yeah, he's still around.
I want to get a
T-shirt. Him out at Willoughby Brewing Company last year.
Oh yeah.
I want to get a T-shirt that says "I didn't survive COVID-19."
Yes.
And then go to the fun house and lay in the coffin.
There's the DD. Yeah.
Big head.
It's wild to think that like every city has those celebrities that are completely unknown outside of the city.
Outside of their city. Yeah.
Like we've got like Ghilardi.
Superhost just died.
Superhost died.
Yeah.
Who's the furniture guy down on Prospect? The ponytail.
Mark Norton.
Mark Norton.
My name's Mark Norton, and if you can't get credit here, you can't get credit.
That's it.
Those are the best commercials.
It is the most stupid tagline. I mean, it's like there's nothing funny about it. It's not like, oh, that's clever. That's an interesting turn of phrase. It's just,
if you can't get credit here, you can't get credit.
I just appreciate everything about their advertising is so delightfully low effort.
Yeah.
In San Diego, we had the Go See Cal guy. It was a car dealership that had always like a tiger on top of the cars. Go see Cal, go see Cal, go see Cal. That was the whole fucking tagline with the guy with the That's like funky as hell. Yeah.
That's like those two twin skinny guys that are like in Illyria and Sandusky, and they say Sandusky weird, and they're real skinny. They're by 102 pounds each.
Yeah, they look like meth heads.
Yeah. But it's got to be embarrassing to like always have to wear dumb costumes and stuff and be on TV and do the Sandusky like they do.
What about C. Miller Chevrolet?
What is it?
Well, I don't know if you guys are old enough. C. Miller's Chevrolet. You remember that, Dan?
I have a plate, like one of the plastic. What do they call those? They're not. It's the plate they put on the front of your car when you buy from a dealership.
License holders.
I remember
not the plate holder, but the actual plastic plate that they would have on all the cars.
Yeah, the advertisement they had on the cars.
Yeah, the advertisement plate or whatever. I have one of those.
Yeah, he would like everybody. See the USA at a C. Miller Chevrolet. Then he would go.
Oh, I do remember that guy. Yeah. I remember
that. For like 20 years straight. Same commercial. And
He's
I think
dead
the
now.
first commercial he did, he just kept running the same thing because it was like 1960s cars in 1980.
What's that one commercial with the lady that throws the tire through the window? It's for a company now, but it's from the 70s and they're replaying it. And it's like
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like that old lady says that she throws the tire through the window and what the hell is that?
It doesn't sound like a very effective commercial.
Well, I never understood it though. Like they were like, if you're not satisfied, we'll take your tire back. And she's like, and she throws this tire and it goes sailing through the window. And she's like,
but it's a tire off of a wheel, right? Like there's no wheel attached to the tire. So theoretically, she has a tire machine at home.
Right.
And she's able to take the tire off the wheel.
You guys see the screen?
Not yet.
She knows how to change a tire and she knows where's the beef.
You got to.
Oh, that's the other one. Yeah.
Clara Peller, I think, was.
You got to hit share on the right corner, Oscar. Like once you have it,
double check.
Phil, do you know the name of the commercial where the lady throws the tire through the window? It was like
no, I don't.
Oh, yeah. It was.
What about Supilla? Do you remember Supilla when he would like sing this little song with the RV driving off into the future?
No.
Do you remember the RV, the Tom Raper RV with the really aggressive voiceover? And they would make sure they really put a lot of gusto into Raper RV. Like that's a bad name to sell anything. It's an especially bad name to sell RVs.
If you're ever driving toward Muncie, Indiana, and like you get to the Ohio border, right across the border from Ohio, that's where his main setup is, and it's just signs with Raper everywhere, and you're just
It reminds me of this old Mr. Show skit where they were talking about how they would introduce.
There you go.
Looks
so that's Cal Worthington, and they always have the Go See Cal thing.
Oh, really?
The tiger. Fucking videos on him, like with the fucking tigers and lions.
Yeah. You guys are holy shit, that guy is clearly, oh, you know what, that's the Worthington Ford of Long Beach. There's a documentary about that dude.
Yeah.
So you guys are talking about Raper RV, and as a little kid, my dad, we didn't go on big vacations, but we took tons of fucking one tank trips. 1 tank of gas, go as far as the car will go. That's the vacation. And this was not joking. This was one of my favorite signs, and you nailed it. Yes, it's on Interstate 80. You've entered Raper country.
Oh no.
And I was like, if your name is Tom, this is terrifying. You guys are like,
so there's a Mr. Show skit called Larry Cleast Rapist, and it's like done up like a fake documentary of like how we can reintegrate criminals into society. And it's him getting in his car in the morning, his like briefcase and his newspaper, and there's like a big Dodge van behind him as he drives, and it's following him, and it's got a loudspeaker that says, "Look out, everybody, rapist coming, don't get raped." And then it's him at work, and he's got to call people and sell insurance. He's like, "Hi, I'm Larry Cleast. I'm a rapist. I'd like to sell you insurance."
Wow.
It's really it's really good. It's got Bob Odenkirk, Better Call Saul fan.
Chris, where the hell did you get that? And
did it come with nachos?
Oh my God. You got to put a tiger behind you and some old 60s Fords.
Exactly.
Hey, I got this out of the trash. My son was throwing it away, and I thought it'd be the perfect for tonight.
Your son was throwing it away.
Yeah. Okay. I said, wait a minute, I can use that Friday night.
Do you have a joke for us, Chris?
I do have a joke for you.
You could use. I'm going to grab it right now.
Oh boy.
Well, I'm wearing the hat that my friends gave me. Thanks, John and Phil.
My RV is a non-paper RV.
Oh. What the hell is that?
That's an expander.
I know what that is.
You stick it in a hole and you put water to it, and it hoses everything out.
Yeah. I've got one of those.
If it was that hat, you need this.
Did you get that at work? Is that something somebody flushed?
What?
Did someone flush? Does that go up your butt?
It's used to clear the line.
You stick it in the line. They make like 1-inch ones too. You stick it in the line. You turn
Of course
it
they
on,
do.
and it expands.
I'm not gonna
You
lie.
gotta
to
work
you,
your
I
way
probably need the one
It took him 5 years to get to that one.
Sorry. How do you explain that, though? I mean, how would you explain a thing that looks like that?
Don't know. That was perfect.
Sorry.
Wow.
So, Phil, last week on our ride, we experienced what you probably experience all day, every day at the shop is no matter where we stopped, what gas station, whatever, every Harley Davidson had to go to extreme red line every time they passed any of us standing anywhere.
Fuck it, man. If all day long, every single fucking Harley that passes our shop, as they pass our shop, they blast it. I mean, they just give us all of it. We might as well be in a tunnel. It's
So, like, is this shared by people? Like, do Harley guys go like, okay, here's the deal, dude. When you get the bike, this is what you have to do. Because how do they all know?
Is there an overpass over the shop that they
There
want to
isn't.
pump it up
No.
for? Yeah,
No, and I get two distinct behaviors. I get no matter what kind of motorcycle people are on, regardless of what kind of motorcycle they're on, I get the as they're going by at 30 miles an hour. And then what's really funny though is they're so focused on doing it. Remember that 90% of the time in front of my shop, somebody has brake checked to go into Dunkin's for a coffee.
That's true.
So we have had a number of sudden ACD, assured clear distance accidents, right in front of my shop because they're so busy looking at my shop, revving, they plow right into the back of the car in front of them that's making a hard dunk a frappuccino.
Wait till the guy that has a shop full of 250 motorcycles and has been dealing with motorcycles for 25 years sees my Harley.
Exactly. Dude's going to come in his jeans. But then the other one that we get is the guys that go by and actually just flip us off as they go out.
Wow.
Yeah. And I get a kick out of those guys because those guys are great because about 20% of the time they have to stop at the light.
Hey, guys.
It's right there in front of you.
It's right there.
Special
In front
guest.
of the shop.
We have a very special guest. And
No, we don't. We're all here.
No. There's a special guest coming. He should be.
Really?
Second.
Oh my God. As I live and breathe.
Oh my.
Hey!
Hey!
Does this mean that exotic for once?
We have a motor view.
We have an actual exotic in the house.
What the fuck, dude?
Oh, sorry.
I have several time zones behind you.
It's like, how was breakfast that you just ate?
Yeah, I around 2, sauntered around for a little bit, and breakfast.
If there's some listeners that are listening or watching or whatever and they don't know who you are, can you introduce yourself and tell us what you're...
Hi, I am Nak. I am for the Motorcycles and Misfits Podcast coming out of Santa Cruz, California.
Yay, Nak.
Yeah. Regular attendee of the, vintage days, although I haven't been
There you
there.
go.
Yeah, there you go. Right on.
Yeah.
Now, are you
Oscar's got the shirt. Right on.
What was that? What was that, Steve?
Quarantined.
Yes, we are. The beaches are motherfucking closed.
Okay,
Now
now
on the beaches are motherfucking closed.
Oh, no.
Parking lots? Nope.
So are they busting people up? Like if you congregate, will
Yeah, one of my coworkers was telling me how the Rangers are just coming up and yelling at people and then tell them to kick off. But I don't think they've actually started citing anybody yet. I'd imagine it will happen soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What they've resorted to in Ohio is closing off every road you could possibly go on in the parks. So
Oh,
they
shit.
can park and they increase their parking spaces so more people can get packed in on that stupid little path.
Yeah, that's what's happening on.
I've never seen so many people packed together on that path.
Oh, man. Last week, four of us went for a ride last Sunday or whatever. We drove through the parks. And, it was more crowded than 4th of July in some places. It was insane.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
The weird thing is, so when this first started, the very first weekend of COVID, I went ahead and went through the Metroparks just for demo riding bikes and shit like I normally do. And the Metroparks is fantastic. For people who don't know, our Metroparks is right by the shop. It's epic. And it's twists and turns. The problem is it's 30 miles per hour. And I went cruising through there, and on Saturday, you would have thought it was a motherfucking car show because The whole rule was
Right.
everybody was sequestered, but they were like, oh, well, we're sequestered. We can't go to work. So we're going to get together 400 cars in a 20-car parking lot and stand around and, look at each other's, rice burner or whatever, So, yeah, just fucking crazy. I mean, absolutely mental.
Right,
So,
you couldn't even move through there. I mean, you couldn't drive through there because there were like 30 cars in a row.
yeah, that was exactly it. It was like everything was stopped and it was creating the worst possible scenario. And so the weird thing was I was a little nervous because we got this Metroparks that just bought that zero DSRP from us. And I was like, well, they're not going to pay their bill. We're fucked, We're going to be holding the fucking chain on this $55,000 bike.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it turns out they need it more than ever before.
Yeah, that makes
Gotta creep them.
So you guys were interested. Here is my official. Oh wait, can't tell because it's Chroma.
Gotta kill the
Right.
green screen.
Chromaco, gotta kill the green screen. So this is my actual official denial letter from the state of Ohio.
Oh.
That's it. That's officially telling me that as a result of me being too much the owner of my company, the following eligibility issue was raised. I own my business or I'm a corporate officer. So because you own your business or you're a corporate officer, the state of Ohio is going to deny you for your unemployment claim. So
But that was still a good move because that might eventually pay off in some way.
I hope, man.
You got denied, but they might come back and say, okay, you might get the $600 worth of federal or something like that. I
got
don't
it.
know.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I can't. I really don't know what it's going to end up being, but we'll just keep my fingers crossed and see what happens. If they end up writing me a check, I will cash it. So yeah.
Okay.
That's
They
the
were
government.
talking about giving first responders $15,000 in this new bill they're pushing forward.
I saw that. Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't feel right about that. I don't feel, I'm sorry, but I don't feel right about taking that money.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went all the way through the loan process to get a loan for my business.
Yeah.
And at the end, I'm like, I can't take that money. I don't know why I can't do it. I mean, it's probably worth it, but I can't take the money. I just feel like I'm stealing money.
Well,
would you take a bar of gold instead?
Yeah. Bar of gold would be better.
It's the format, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can help.
No, Steve, you didn't
Just
have any
remember,
problem.
You're only taking back money that they took from you.
Right.
Right, exactly.
And Steve, you didn't have any problem taking that $500 from Zero Motorcycles.
I am a first responder. I am a first responder. Why do the sewer guys get like shit on?
Steve always picks up on the first ring.
So Steve, this is how you have to look at it, right? You have to do, if the US government gives you money, you have to do like what every other nation does and immediately use that money to buy small arms, which you then use to try to overthrow the US government. That's,
It was like a
that's the most American, the most traditional thing you can possibly do with your stimulus check. So
use your
just
$1,200 check to buy guns.
to buy guns that you will theoretically use. Yeah.
Makes sense.
But with my company, what I did was I told the people that like are totally shut down, that have no revenue whatsoever, that I'm going to discount their service price.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have to do the same amount of work. It doesn't matter. But I mean, to me, I feel like I'm in good shape because I have a job. I have I have my own business. I'm getting money from that, but I've cut their payments so they don't have to pay me while they don't have any revenue.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, I mean, that's why I assumed that if I took the loan, that it would pay me back for my loss by giving these people free service.
Right.
Well, and here I can help you with this. So, when I had my hip done, they also removed my scruples. So I can just, when you get that money,
you got to get that scrupulectomy.
Yeah.
I'll give you my password and just apply for it.
Okay. Yeah.
Some people were born without those. You got lucky.
Peoples.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of people. Yeah. Right now, there's a lot of people without scruples, but that's all right.
Yeah. That's true.
I don't know if I found some way to help somebody that was down on their luck or something like that. I do feel fortunate. I'm working. Peggy signed up on unemployment and everything.
Yeah.
If the right opportunity comes by and I find somebody in need, or if there's something I could do to one-on-one personally help somebody, I would do it.
That's good. We're not selling at the shop. It's the weirdest thing because we are, we're allowed to be open. The governor said that our business is somehow essential. I don't know how that works, but we're essential. And the weird thing is we're not selling anything else. Like sales on everything is just dead right now because people are stuck in their house or they're not earning money. Nobody wants to spend any money. But the one thing we are selling insane are zeros. Not $20,000 zeros, not SRFs, not SRSs. We are selling the cheap zeros. We're selling the Super Mo's and we're selling the FXs. And we are backed up. I mean, I've got these things sold 6 deep.
Whoa.
Damn.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Was it the prepper mentality that you could always ride an electric motorcycle where if gasoline, you can't get gasoline, you could always charge your motorcycle from solar panels.
And it's the strangest thing because
it's got to be prepper. It's totally prepper.
Well, the weird thing is we just grabbed a whole bunch of the FXSs that they had at the International Motorcycle Show, the ones that they had like neutered down to 12 miles an hour and they're running around on carpet. And we got them, they like 150 miles on them, and they're just the one battery, so it's just the 3.6. So you've got 40 miles if you're careful. But we're making a deal so that they'll get us the extra batteries and everything to get them up to speed. Well, those bikes are being sold at the demo discount, but they also get the 10% tax rebate, and they also get the 30% tax rebate on the extra battery you're chucking in it.
Holy crap.
So you're going to end up getting like around $1,800 off of the bike via the tax credit. So it actually makes a Zero FXS a really good time to buy that bike right now.
Yeah.
If you can find one.
Wow.
Because they're all, I mean, people are just grabbing them as fast as they can.
I mean, I feel like it's probably a lot easier to properly store an electric motorcycle than it is to properly store even a modern fuel-injected gas motorcycle, right? I mean, you've got to. You've got to, well, yeah. I mean, you've got to take care of the batteries to some degree.
No, you don't have to do shit. You don't have
to do anything.
You can lay it on its side if you want. No.
Well, that's
my problem.
Yeah, the only fluids in it are in the brake system, right?
Fucking electrons are all going to leak into a puddle on the floor.
See how many deep I am.
Oh,
look
shit,
at your
dude.
fucking garage.
But I'm pretty deep in motorcycles here.
Yeah, you are definitely very deep in motorcycles right now.
So, Phil, does it have any benefit at all? Like, if you have a heated garage and you keep your zero at 60, wouldn't that be better for the battery chemistry?
It's really not bad. The biggest thing that will fuck your zero up is below 20 degrees Frankenstein. So if you're under 20, it's not going to charge. So you can be plugged in and everything looks like it's working correct, but it's actually not charging. So you can go out and you can ride it. It'll do what it's supposed to do, but it is absolutely not going to charge. So until you get the thing up over 20 degrees ambient temperature, it's pretty much not going to charge.
Gotcha. And Nak is sitting here going like, I don't even believe that those temperatures exist. I don't even know.
What are you talking about? Is there anything under 60?
I know.
Didn't you say something about they have a heater, a battery heater that's available, or no?
Yeah, they do. And so
it's the SRF though, right?
The SRF has a battery heater on the little 12-volt lithium pack, the little tiny lithium pack that basically runs all the automotive functions. It has a little tiny 5-watt heater for that little fucker, because without that thing being warm enough, nothing else is going to function. So that's kind of like that's basically like heating the OK on switch. If you don't have that little fucker, that little thing heated up, and it goes into hibernation mode, the whole rest of the bike isn't going to fire up either.
Well, the keyless system on the Super Cub's been giving me problems.
Really?
Because what do you do over the 4 months that you let the bike sit? So I try to go every 2 weeks and hit the button, turn it on, start it up, run it for a half hour, do that stuff. But if you leave it too long, it just like it goes dead. It's like it shuts itself off, and then you have no way of start. Like you hit the key, you turn the switches, nothing happens.
So what do you do in that situation?
You use your dongle,
and
you keep hitting it, and eventually it wakes up. But the battery, if the the system is running, it runs it down in 2 weeks. So you have to keep a charger on it.
Oh,
So
that's
it's kind of the same as putting your lighter underneath the carb to kind of like.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, it's really ridiculous.
Those don't have any Kickstarter or anything like that? No Kickstarter.
Well, there's no Kickstarter, and it goes, it's like the typical click, click, click when your battery's too low to run the starter.
If you put it in here and push it around the block a few times, will that charge it up enough?
I don't think so. It's not like a Metropolitan where you can kick 2 times and it starts with fuel injection, even if the battery's shit. So,
is your battery accessible? Can you disconnect the terminals, or is it kind of buried in there?
No, don't. And what's really funny is that on mine, it's right under the seat, so you can pull it out. It's a lot better than the old. Well, it's not better than the old ones, but it's just about as easy.
Yeah.
They have the red and the black reversed. So they have black on the positive and red on the negative. And when you try to, I threw the chargers on it, to charge it up.
Right.
And the polarity is reversed. It's very interesting because they reversed the color of the wires. It must have been a manufacturing defect.
That's fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
That's very weird.
Oh. Who's that? Is that Renee?
It is. She's gonna burn me down once she sees this. She loses her shit anytime I pull that picture out of hiding.
So wait, Phil. So on the police Zero, what are they tapping for? Getting for like the sirens and all the extra shit that they have in there?
Yeah, so that all goes through what they call a DC to DC converter, and so on these bikes, not only do you have your giant operating system, which runs at between 96 and 106 volts, but you also have a DC to DC converter, which takes the giant fucking battery. You got a 14.4 battery, and then you've also got a 3.6 added to it. And so you've got 18 kilowatt hours of battery sitting right under your balls, and which is more than your house uses in like a week. And so what they do is they actually have a converter in there that turns that into 12 volts. So it's constantly doing a DC to DC conversion from this 96 plus volts down to 12.
And all the lights and stuff, I mean, that's all LEDs at this point, right? So it's not going to suck a lot of current anyway. So.
Right. Yeah, it's all LED. So it's but it's fun. The electric police bikes are just way too. You should never ride one because you are just tempted constantly to fucking light the place up constantly. Because you're invisible, you're silent, nobody knows you're there until you press one button and the whole world goes apeshit.
Do they still have the different modes? Or is it just standard, like one specific mode of how it operates?
No, so the way that the Zeros operate, obviously the Zeros themselves have the eco mode, they've got the sport mode, and they've got your custom mode you set up yourself. But the law enforcement package gives you the ability to, 1, shut off all the lights on the bike. Kind of cool. 2, it has a PA system built in, so you can do the microphone and fuck with people. It's got a siren system that as many times as you press the button changes the song it sings, like the ice cream truck of Trouble. And then also when you activate, there's a switch, an AB switch for all lighting, reds and blues front and back, or just the rears. And it has those little LED modules that we talked about on our podcast several podcasts ago, were the ones where you just short out the third wire and it changes the flash pattern of the lights. Yeah. Those are exactly what Zero's using in reds and blues all over the thing. So you can make custom light patterns for your department. Yeah.
A lot of those lights have there's wires that come out of them, and there's a sync wire, and then there's a mode select wire. So
there's 3 wires. There's a red, a black, and a green. And the green is your mode select. And every time you put power to the mode select, it goes through another pattern shift.
Wayland uses a 4-wire system, so you can tie all 4 lights together and sync them.
Yep.
So when you hit that mode select, it changes the pattern all the way around the bike.
Yep. Yeah,
is that the super deluxe disco kit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Comes with fog machine, do a little tire burn out there.
1980 roller derby.
Yeah.
Again, AMA Vintage Days, motherfucker.
Oh,
I know, man.
How big of trouble did we get in?
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be nice and good to go, man. Hopefully, this all, shit.
All the people that are already saying, well, the worst case scenario is they'll have to move it out to September.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm fucking cool with that.
Yeah. Yep. Honestly, like I'm kind of nervous because this is the first year I have my shit together for Vintage Days. Actually, like I'll have my own bike, my own transportation, my own mullet, my own pit viper. All the important bases are covered.
Dude, I have a 3-wheeler taking up half my fucking garage just because of Vintage Days, and they're sitting there.
Don't lie to us. You'd have that 3-wheeler anyway.
I saw it. It's still there. It's a 3-wheeler and a
Still
quad.
have all your spine intact, huh?
Yeah, I still have spine intact. No new hip surgeries. It's been good.
I remember
it doesn't like the turn pushing it. I pulled it out to get the scooter because Oscar borrowed the scooter, and I tried to put it back in the garage, and it wouldn't.
Kept going straight.
The only way you can turn a 3-wheeler is to pick one of the wheels up.
Right.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember the first year I went to Vintage Days. The ink wasn't even dry on my motorcycle endorsement. And Phil uncrates. Did you uncrate it at Vintage Days? The Tri-Moto.
Yeah, the Tri-Zinger.
It at Tri-Moto. This beautiful, perfect time capsule of a 3-wheeler. You tape a pie plate to the front with like some obscene amount of money on it, knowing that someone would want it, and then you said, "Here, ride this thing around." And I learned to ride a 3-wheeler right after I learned to ride a 2-wheeler.
It takes about 65 feet to learn how to ride a Tri-Moto. And in the first 30 feet, you realize nothing works. Like nothing goes the way that science wants it to go. And that leaning to the left only makes you crash to the right. So that you have to learn that leaning to the right makes you turn left. And for people who have ridden trikes and ridden ATCs, they got it. But for anybody else, they're fucked.
Yeah, I feel like, what would you say, 90 feet? I feel like it's either 90 feet. 65 feet.
Hello, how are you?
Hi there.
Hey! No, my daughter came over, and I'm so happy that she's here. But
did you know that your dad was cool? He's a pretty cool dude.
Not bad.
Yeah. No, my
you're muted, Dan. You're muted.
Fire, so.
Yeah,
who's muted?
Ran away.
Dan's muted.
No, I can't.
Oh,
they should put a differential in those things, make it a little bit easier for people. Maybe.
And that's how stupid it was when you think about that early technologies, the 70s and 80s technologies, where some idiot was like, "Okay, we're going to take a pipe and we're going to put a sprocket on a pipe.
Yeah, fuck, it'll be fine.
And just two bearings, and that's it. Go."
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like in 65 feet, you either have a broken
differential. You can lock the rear end or
people here have motorcycles just for Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, I mean, freaking dude, I signed up with a whole motorcycle line. I signed up with SSR just for Mid-Ohio.
It's true.
Hi, Kitty.
Hello, Kitty.
You know
every time I say this, every time I come over.
Bearing.
Yeah.
The carrier bearing has caused me more problems in my life than anything else.
Dude.
Or whatever, the intermediate bearing, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
I mean, those things are shit.
They're garbage. Yeah. But also because on an ATC, what they're trying to do is a fucking impassable task. Because if you're going straight, that's okay. But the second you're not going straight, you're putting insane loads on a bullshit bearing that's only meant to take a load one direction. So these bearings they
you
use
said
are,
take a load.
Yeah. Cam knows about taking a load.
forward, not straight.
Yeah, but
Harley
you all
Davidson.
ran into the same thing. You all ran into that like hard two-wheel drive that wouldn't differentiate when you made a turn.
Well, and with the Ural, what people forgot to fucking think about was the two-wheel drive was only ever meant to be used in Russia. And there's nowhere in America that is Russia. So if you're in America, two-wheel drive Ural is just going to eat itself.
Yeah, and why would you even do that? I mean, it's cost so much more money, too.
Yeah, exactly. It's the dumbest thing. Like, anybody I've ever had has been like, oh, I bought a two-wheel drive. I bought a Ural Gear Up. I'm like, how many times have you used the two-wheel drive? Well, once, maybe twice. It was horrible, so I never did it again. Well, if the snow is deep enough that you have to use the two-wheel drive in a Ural, it's too deep to use a Ural.
Right. You could have used it this morning.
You know that Fortnite guy. That Fortnite guy did a review of the 2-wheel drive Ural, but he used it in sessions like where he like tried to climb up a rock, and the thing fucking walked up the rocks like nothing. So like if you get to do that kind of stuff, I think it makes sense.
Well, you know, Toyota Tacomas for years have had a diff lock button. So every Toyota Tacoma that was fun had a little button on the dashboard that said diff lock, and it was even in a 2-wheel drive Tacoma. So if you had a 2-wheel drive Tacoma and you got stuck, you could press this button, and I just used to call it the getting unstuck button, because whatever you were in, for just one moment, you had a locked rear axle. And that's all you needed to get out of trouble. But if you used it in any other situation, you did $1,200 damage.
Yep.
So it's the same with the Ural. So
they're just roller bearings, right? They're not any kind of weird special bearings or...
No, it's just simple roller bearings. Yeah. And like
Ural uses a box of rocks.
Pebbles.
Hey, Phil, sorry, John. Hey, Phil.
Yeah.
Can you please look for a 950 Multistrada for me at the auctions?
Oh, sure. I'm glad you didn't ask me. Hey, why don't you instead?
That's a nice choice, man.
Why don't you have a 1200 Multistrada, which I already have, and I bought it crazy cheap. I bought my 1200 for $950 money.
Oh, seriously?
Damn.
That's insane.
Yeah. So you should buy my 1200 multi. Yeah, don't fuck around with the 950. Go straight for the 1200. It's the 11 degrees. It's the Testastrada motor. So it's 150 horsepower. It'll get the job done.
And Phil, you got to help him out.
Like I'm going to use like 30% of that.
I was going to say
again.
You gotta help Hoff out because he's on an odd number again on motorcycles. If he can't get even again,
that's true.
He's got to get to 28 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's really messing the whole psychology.
Will you be getting rid of the Africa Twin?
That's a good question. The whole planet's Camaro for Africa Twins right now. You could be the only guy ever that's getting rid of one.
I love that bike is perfect to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit tall. Like if it was an inch lower, it'd be perfect.
Right.
But I mean, other than that, everything else I like about it, except that first gear, it's too high.
While we were sitting here having this podcast, Liza pushed one into Nak's garage.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's the only misfit that doesn't have an Africa Twin, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve, that first gear is, you probably can't live with that. You should get rid of it.
Johnny Mac,
seriously, I like 250s better. I mean, I've lived on a 250 for half my life, and the 250s are all I need.
Yeah.
I'm still willing to go even up my FT 500 for your Africa Twin.
I liked your FT 500. I rode it all day.
That's the Ascot, right?
Yeah.
Ascot,
Yeah.
The black one with the gradient red, orange, yellow striping, whatever.
Well, I had an XL 500S, and it was the exact same engine, and I love that engine, except at high RPM because it's like a cement mixer.
Is it a single?
Rattly. I mean, not rattly, but like it vibrates so much that it numbs your hands.
When I came around the corner on the customers, that Harley that we just bought, that Fat Boy, and I came around the corner and I saw all you knuckleheads heading into the Metroparks by Smedley's, I was like, this situation will never present itself again. I'm riding a Harley Davidson. They are riding the United Colors of Benetton biker gang. And I've got a full face helmet on and I can fuck with them.
Yeah.
And so when I saw all you idiots, I was like, get a real bike, you fags.
All I heard was fags. I'm like, did that motherfucker just call us fags, man?
I feel like it's like women do not understand male friendships for the most part, except Liza. Liza understands male friendships very well.
I wonder why.
But
censor that, please.
It's usually, I feel like it's usually summed up. You talk shit about them when they're present, and then you praise them when they're not there.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we were out. Beth and I were out on the Vespa, so I missed riding with all of you guys last week because I was busy demothballing all the bikes and riding them around. So I got back to ride on the Vespa with Beth after blowing the cobwebs out of the two Kawasaki's, and I was like, oh, I missed the opportunity to go riding with my kings. So when we were out on the Vespa, I saw my buddy Kyle in his Corvette that I'd been helping him with.
And just say hi, Kyle.
And instead of saying hi to him, I just stuck my finger out and flipped him off because I didn't think he'd recognize. And like at first, he doesn't know what I look like without a helmet on. He's a car friend. He doesn't have a bike.
Wait, please tell me at some point you said Sig Heil.
Say, Kyle.
No, so like I flipped him off. Beth's like, what did you do? Like when we got stopped, she's like, why did you flip off Kyle? And I'm like, because I was saying hi. She's like, you could have honked or waved at him. And the thought never occurred to me that I could have just been completely normal and good with
But it's not as funny as you're flipping it off. So
like I'm on a Vespa and I'm flipping off a dude on a Corvette. To everyone else in traffic, that probably looked fantastic.
I had to do a 2-lane U-turn on a fat boy and then blast through traffic to catch up these assholes.
Oh, yeah, that was
got down to the Metroparks.
That was totally awesome.
Hold on. When did you get a fat boy?
Oh, I don't know, a week or so ago.
Is it a customer bike or is it a bike you're selling?
No, I already sold it.
Oh.
So we're riding tomorrow. 53.
I'm in.
No rain.
Hell yeah.
Yep, I'm in.
Do it.
How about 1 o'clock?
So wait, I got a question for Nak. Hold on. So so the reason we're all gung-ho to go riding and stuff is because we just suffered through another shitty Cleveland, not even winter, just terrible weather, cold, just rainy crap, whatever.
Winter 2.0.
So yesterday I loaded up a Harley Davidson Sportster in the back of my truck in a actual half-inch hailstorm. So out of fucking nowhere, the temperature dropped 20 degrees, and we had hail that like hurt me. Yeah.
So we're all like getting jacked up about going riding, like even with the quarantine, like, okay, I'll put a plastic bag over my head, my helmet, I'll be fine, like, social distancing, whatever. It's like out in Cali where you guys are, it's just another day of riding. So are people still riding even with the COVID stuff, or are you guys just like, fuck it, I'm not going out, or what?
Yeah, I live like a block away from Highway 9, which is one of the super fun roads. And you go into the hills, even like in the weird remote parts, you got guys in sport bikes like taking what would be, motard style roads, and people are just doing their thing, man. Like I see cruisers, bopping around, and
because there's two totally different angles on this shit. Some people are like, this is the perfect time to go socially isolate yourself, ride your motorcycle, be distant. There's less people on the road. It's much safer. And then the other people are like, you idiot. If you end up in the ICU, you're going to take services away from somebody else, or you're going to, in fact, give yourself COVID by going into the ICU, or you're going to die in the ICU because you can't get services because everyone else is on a respirator in another wing.
I think most of those people are the people that would never get on a motorcycle because it's too dangerous. So
so I reposted the picture that the Sleepy took of us in the gas station, and I got actually that exactly same response. It was like, "Oh, are you crazy? You shouldn't be doing that." And it was someone from San Diego, obviously.
Yeah, but what about the pictures you posted of you riding your moped shit-faced drunk to go get more liquor?
Nobody said anything about it. Just by myself.
That was actually Sleepy Hollow where we stopped, by the way.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
We're biker trash. Apparently, we're not Shriners, man. We're not.
Nobody gives a shit about
donations.
So Monday I had to take the FJ80 and to get a new window put in the back because it blew out when I closed the fucking door. And I go to Cleveland House of Glass, and these guys are putting my window in the FJ, so I got some time to kill. I walk down. I was right at the end of your street, by the way, Oscar. And so I'm at that big yellow building that puts in auto glass where you live. I walk down to my warehouse, and I'm like getting the little Japanese cars dialed in and stuff and playing around. And I see my fucking DRZ SM in the corner just like gazing at me like, hey, see these gold rims, motherfucker? And
you want to do 10 stoppies today.
And I was like, I really haven't ridden that bike in a little while. And because it was Monday and the place where my warehouse is closed on Monday, I had an entire 60-car parking lot to myself.
Nice.
Dude. They just asphalted it. They just seal coated it.
Nice.
Weeks ago. So all the lines are perfect, and they're bright, and they're yellow, and the pavement's all perfectly black. And now it looks like a zebra just had diarrhea all through the parking lot. It's just fucking skid marks and slides all over the fucking place.
Hell yeah, dude.
The muffler on that bike is about this long. right? And so it's a bit brappy is the right term. And so I go out, well, there's like 3 or 4 car shops because on Brook Park where my warehouse is, it's like guys who work for a living fixing cars for people. And so I get the thing out of the warehouse and fire it up, and I just start doing ludicrous displays of speed, which is like, if you can imagine how long 20 parking spaces is, that's like a 16th of a mile, right? And it's crazy how fast you can go in 20 parking spaces. And like, for anybody who's ever ridden a DRZ, 400 SM, they're not like the best wheelie bikes in the world because of the 17-inch wheels. So you got to kind of massage a wheelie up, but they're really good at just hauling ass. And they will smoke the tire and just give you a beautiful rolling burnout. And I realized after my 300th pass that I had an audience of people at the shop across the street who were just out there just fucking checking me out. And I realized 3 or 4 of them had cameras on, and they were taking turns making sure they documented the asshole with no gloves and no helmet who was going to eat shit in a parking lot during COVID.
They're like, watch this motherfucker go viral.
Oh, yeah. And I'm
catch it.
And I'm doing, and that bike is actually more fun to do stoppies on than it is to do wheelies on. And you can really work the DRZ for stoppies, but wheelies are a little, I don't know. It likes, you got to be, the RPMs have to be too high for a wheelie on a DRZ 400. So it's not my favorite wheelie bike, but it is a fucking great stoppie bike.
Have you seen the European dudes rocking those things where the DRZs and the Super, they're doing the BMX stuff where they come into a stoppie and they're like doing rock walks now, like it's nothing. Like just
I can't do any of that shit. I'm very proud when I do a stoppie and I come down out of my stoppie and I'm already in gear and I'm already ready to pick the front wheel up. Like that is impressing the shit out of myself.
My broken collarbone, cracked skull, and destroyed bike will never have me doing stoppies ever again.
Yeah, it's scary when the front actually pushes on you, but sometimes, like a lot of the times, if you kind of do nothing and relax, it kind of tracks itself straight. But like, you get some brown pants,
It's always that moment. There's that moment where you release the front brake. And this is either going to save it or make it way worse.
Right.
It's just like, whew, it saved it. And so I did that for about 45 minutes on Monday. And then when I was done, and you get your little pulses up a little bit, you're all cool and happy. And you're like, wait a second. If I eat shit here, it's not a question of like, am I going to go to a good hospital? Because it's Cleveland. We got good hospitals everywhere. The downside is like, I'm going to be the only asshole going in there with like a rotator cuff, and no face, like half of my face and just asphalt in it.
It's the public shaming that you have to endure, huh?
That's exactly.
Can you just give it a little more gas and save it?
That's how you save a stoppie is more gas. You got to keep that rear wheel in rotation for the balance point. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fuck, man. So I mean, it is that game. It's like, we got to be a little more careful, guys, because it's not the day you want to go to the hospital.
Well, that's what it is. Last week when we rode, like, there's rides when I go on, and I almost don't enjoy them because the people I'm riding with, like, you're gonna die almost every minute because they're pushing that hard. It's kind of annoying. Yeah. This week was not that. We enjoyed ourselves. It was a really nice, fun ride. Steve, you did a great job of finding roads. It was like 45-mile-an-hour roads with nice turns and not a lot of traffic. It was good. I mean, like, the kind of roads where if you did, unless you got hit by a car head on or something, like if you did crash, you probably weren't getting myrtleized. You know what I mean? Like, it was just a nice, it was fun.
I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
How far out of Cleveland do you guys have to go to get some like super twisty roads, or if there are any?
Far.
Not particularly. You think so?
Kentucky.
No.
Really? Oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, no. I
recommend Akron. You can pick up the triple. You can pick up 666 or the triple nickel. Yep. Probably 30, 40 miles from here before you get anything truly twisty and fun. Like Zanesville's got amazing roads all around it.
New Philly has a great, like, that's where we used to always go and with our full leathers on and ride down there.
Sure.
But 61 south, or I'm sorry, 60 south is the river roadway, and 174 on the east side is really good too.
Yeah.
I mean,
most of the stuff. So
it's the Chagrin River.
When we do our Distinguished Gentleman's Ride, last year when we did the ride, I went to a lot of trouble to find all of the twisty roads within 25, 30 miles of Cleveland and stitch them all together. And people were pissed off. And yeah, so, I mean, people were angry. They were furious at the roads we picked. And a couple of them were like hard right-hand turn up an impossibly steep hill and then a hard left-hand turn to a red light.
Yeah.
That was 2 years ago when I did it on my Vespa Rally 200 did it with ease. That sharp turn onto the hill, it was fine.
That was good.
John went out with me on the Recon, and McElfresh went out, and we were like, oh, okay, well, this is a smarter road. And then we're like, yeah, but we want to fuck them. So let's take And you know what's crazy is, like, because, you know, our group ride is probably a lot of scooters. I mean, there's 30 or 40 scooters there. And it's really badass when the scooters can do an uphill start. Two-stroke scooter can do an uphill start when the dude on a fucking Harley electric glide is rolling backwards, stalling out, falling down. So
yeah, it's always fun to be the blocker and just pissing everybody off. Me and my fucking 150 and just blazing over everybody else. So it's so.
I got to the top of that hill and there was a state trooper waiting there.
It was.
Yep. Yeah, and I looked over at that guy and I was like, nothing to see here. We'll be out of your way shortly.
So back,
enjoy the view. Yeah.
About the time that I had that awesome haircut I showed you guys before, about 2003, we used to go and we'd get up at like 5 a.m. on Sundays, and we'd head down to New Philadelphia, a whole group of guys, and we'd wear full leathers. We'd ride these roads like full tilt. There was no cars out, whatever. And my buddy Mark, who's a Ducati mechanic, he had a 918, 917. What was the 9 something? The Ducati
916, 996.
Yeah,
996.
But anyways, since he was the Ducati mechanic, he like got like the racing forks and the racing shocks and like the Olins and carbon fiber body. Like he had 50 grand into this bike. So when we'd get down to New Philly, we'd break up into groups. There'd be A, B, and C. So, like, unless you were, like, an ex-road racer or something, you were not going to hang with the A guys.
No.
B was, like, pretty fast, and C was like, hey, you're new, let's check it out.
Yeah.
So I usually rolled with the B, and I was mid-pack, back, whatever. But Mark went with these dudes, Woody Deathridge, which was Team Suzuki. He was, like, an alternate for Team Suzuki back in the AMA, AMA, whatever. What did they call it? Like, the road racing series that they killed. But anyways... So Woody was like, he was like that good of a racer. So we're doing our thing, and the A group leaves, and they're just killing us, and we're going. And all of a sudden, I come around a turn down there, and I start seeing like little pieces of red, like you just start seeing just red plastic. And then I see Mark like there was a turn that went like this, and there was a field, and he's just walking in his leathers, just covered in grass and broken things and stuff, and he totaled it. Like he low-sided, then high-sided, and he went with these guys, and $50,000 bike completely totaled, just laying there in the middle of New Philadelphia. He rode home on the back of another dude's bike all the way home for
The ride of shame.
But so to answer your question, Mac, yeah, about an hour and a half, and there's some decent twisty roads, 2.5 hours, and like you can get to 666 and stuff, and they get really good.
Yeah, but it's all on the east side of the state. The west side of the state's like a pancake.
Yep.
So how about Americade? June, first week in June.
What's an Americade, and what does it do?
It's not happening.
Not happening.
A big show in Lake George, New York. I say we go up to my camp. We stay socially distant, and we just ride up there. You know, I'll smoke meat every night for you guys.
So how far is it?
Well,
You'll do what?
Is that an innuendo? Is that a thing you do? Well then.
So you guys are gonna love this. So getting ready.
What kind of meat will you smoke?
Name it. I'll smoke it.
So guys know the giant camper we had last year for AMA Vintage Days had a barbecue grill built into it.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. So this crazy ass bullshit, like the Thor Outlaw fun hauler device that we bought last year that we rented for AMA Vintage Days, which we got from Waylon Jennings.
That's peak America, dude. My shit's got a barbecue in the back. It comes with the vehicle.
Yeah, I mean, and a garage, and the garage slept 4. So, and the fact is, that's hilarious. Is my bedroom was above the garage,
and it had a patio. And it had
a patio.
Yeah.
So like not even dicking around, like that thing was fucking serious. And so I had talked to the guy and I said that I absolutely wanted to have the exact same camper, like the exact unit for this year, for AMA Vintage Days this year. And the guy was great. He's super cool. And he was very sad that the generator didn't work right last year. And he's like, the guy was super cool to work with. He should be. We gave him like $1,500 for 4 days, and but the guy's great. So I had contacted him and set it all up to have the same.
You made a half a payment on it,
right? Exactly. And so I contacted him ahead of time and said I want it for next year. So we had, right now everything's very, very dicey. And so when I told him, I said, whatever happens with AMA Vintage Days, if it gets moved, if you'll work with me, I would still like to have the camper. I didn't even think about this, but people that have Airbnbs and people that have like crazy shit like this, it's all fucked. Like the whole thing, the whole idea of vacations or airfare, it's all fucked. There is absolutely nothing to it. And I knew this the other day when my sister flew back down to Florida, and we do this thing where we park at the Sheraton at the airport and then leave the car there. It's like $14 a day. And then I go get the car after she fucks off because the airport Sheraton's close to the shop. And I'll grab the car and I'll drive over the parking barriers and not pay to park. And normally it's not a problem because the airport Sheraton parking lot is always full of fucking cars. Except for this week. So I went there to pick my mom's car up. I was the only car in the parking lot for the fucking airport Sheraton hotel. So it was pretty fucking obvious when Renee drops me off, I go walk over to my mom's CRV. I jump in, I look around. Wow, I am the only person there. But there was also nobody in the little booth to take your money. So they were like doing that shit credit card only. So I snuck out the walking path instead of going over the barricades.
Oh, sweet.
Whoa.
Yep. So
ninja.
$28. That's 2 drinks at Porco. No tip. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one drink tipping appropriatly.
But also, one drink has about $18 worth of booze in it. So
yeah. This. You remember those Mai Tais?
Yeah.
Apparently, I figured out how to turn a Mai Tai into a zombie.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now you have my attention.
Yeah.
Oh my Jesus Christ. Yeah. That Mai Tai mix was supposed to make 12 drinks. This is the 4th, and I'm done.
Nice.
Yeah, that's it. But they're pretty fucking cool. So is everything so far, Nak? Is everything on the California schedule just out? Have they talked about the quail?
The quail, as far as I know, there's probably not going to happen. Shit. That's the only kind of like upcoming event I can think of.
Right.
Yeah, it's not happening, man.
Yeah, because this year I was kind of thinking about this year I was really thinking about doing the quail, and this year I was really thinking about doing the TT on Treasure Island. So
the TT is like a little gorilla. It kind of happens maybe like the announcement maybe like 48 hours before or something. Right. But like if you can go to that, that's pretty awesome. Yeah. But definitely if you can, do go to the quail. I mean, there's a lot of just crazy shit that goes in there.
I had so much fun years ago when we did the dirt bag. That thing was fucking fantastic. I just like Paul Brown he does such a great job, and the dirt bag was just so rad. It was fucking cool.
Yeah, so, you came in at peak dirt bag. After that year, and maybe a year after that one, it started to kind of mellow out a little bit more. It became more grassroots. So, I mean, like when you were there, they were renting porta potties and stuff. Now it's like find yourself a corner kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So,
I was very impressed. I thought the dirt bag was fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty magic weekend for me. So, yeah, I'd be all over that, and I'd be all over the TT. So, and I mean, I would figure out a 125. I would figure a way to throw my ass over a 125 for that shit, because I wouldn't even be competitive, but I'd be on the track with some fucking legends, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a cool one. I feel bad though if AMA gets fucking cut. I'd feel terrible, because it really is. That's the one that we really look forward to. That's our life around here.
That's our Burning Man.
For real.
Nothing to look forward to. Like if that doesn't happen, I told my wife, I'm like, listen, I love you and stuff, but like this year, if like Mid Ohio doesn't happen, I have no joy. No joy.
You can't do nothing for me, baby.
If Vintage Days doesn't happen, I'm just gonna fucking. You know what? Maybe we shouldn't live on this world anymore.
Or are you gonna camp on the back porch? Because I've seen a lot of the like remote like scooter rallies that the people are just putting their tents and just putting their scooter on the side, and that's their like off-site scooter rally.
Fuck, man.
Yeah. I'm pretty much writing this year off. I have the opportunity. I can roll my vacation into next year. For the most part, I like your background right now, Phil. Nice.
So if you guys want to check this out, I'll move out of the way. So that's the Penton race team. That's the Penton race team circa like 1972 coming into the pits here in Ohio.
Teamwork.
That is teamwork.
That's what that is.
Makes the dream work. Yep.
Well,
That's the pits.
And it was functional because their clothes were not flammable. So that
This was the only team there that had the fastest bikes and the slowest pit stops. Yep, that was it. Yep. Yeah, that's true. I mean, if that's when you tell that our ancestors were not just tougher but smarter than we are.
And I think that's the girl that gave you your haircut, right?
If I can move in the right spot, she's working it there. Yeah. There you go. Perfect. So I really, when I think about the stuff that I want to do this year, the stuff that I kind of want to still have happen, it's tough because we're kind of getting excited. We're trying to figure out a way to make it work so we can have 6 people in my backyard standing around a fire pit drinking. You know?
Yeah. We're going to have to make up an alternative. There's got to be something that happens because I'm taking that fucking weekend off no matter what. And I'm doing something. I don't know what we're doing. But we're going to do something.
You guys plan maybe a big old group ride somewhere, you know? Shoot some guns.
Yeah. There you go. I am still heavily invested in lead. So we can, so we do have that going for us.
What time of the year did we do this? The scoot and shoot. I always forget.
That actually is a pretty good idea. The scoot and shoot's a fairly good thing. If we do ever get any kind of testing going, that would be a good thing. We could just be like, okay, admission is test kit. Once we know you're clean, game on.
Yeah.
And a fucking and a thermometer. What do you got? A thermometer gun, you know?
When I would go visit my mom at the old age home, Merritt and I would roll in, and there'd be like a guy for like $7 an hour, $9 an hour with. So the first day we went in, the dude had an actual fucking FLIR, like a FLIR, FLIR heat gun, and he'd shoot it at your head and be like, "Oh yeah, go ahead, you're cool, go ahead." And that was the first day we went in, and then 2 days later we went in, and they had like a pretty decent quality, but this was like an IR based heat gun. That was the third day. The 5th day we went in, the motherfuckers had the Harbor Freight shit. At that point, I knew the standards had dropped, and it was no longer a safe zone.
If you go back again, you're going to get
touching your forehead soon.
No, and the 4th day, the guy's like, put this one in your butt and this one in your mouth. He's like, oh wait, no.
Rotate every 5 minutes.
Yeah. When they're using a Harbor Freight fucking infrared thermometer on me, that's when I know they've given up all hope. Yeah.
Oh, that's when they ran out of inventory.
I like how
fucks to give.
I like how they said that Harbor Freight donated all of their masks and all of their gloves to help the COVID thing. And I'm going to say, if those gloves said Pittsburgh or Chicago Tool on them, you do not want to use them if people's lives are at stake. Because you're not, I mean, you're going to end up with like swine flu when you were trying to prevent.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, COVID-19. Yeah, the Centec. There you go.
Harbor Freight was thank God we got rid of that shit. So.
Oh my God. It's in my house. That is only a cat toy.
Which one's the cat toy?
I think what was it?
Harbor Freight.
Was it 2 weeks ago I had mentioned where someone had written on Twitter how embarrassing would it be to get the 2009 swine flu right now?
Oh yeah, you're right.
I'll tell you how ubiquitous these fuckers are.
33.5.
Oh, you got some science units on there. 32.6, huh?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's 75.8 Frankenstein. Try that. We'll see what it comes in as.
Oh,
Apparently
shit.
I'm 92.3.
92.2. Yeah, 5. Yep.
If anybody's, we're going to be running a little high considering the drinking that we've been doing, but you know, hey.
Apparently in my...
Here's to that.
Yeah. So this is how you know, in my rat hole, I'm 92.3, and that's how I got through. Because this shit is wrong. Yeah. That is it. I mean,
Harbor Freight make a breathalyzer?
Oh no.
yeah. Okay. There you go. I'm 34.5 science and 94.1 Frankenstein. Yeah. So
Again, I like if you do the underside of your ball sack.
hold on. Wait.
Camera, please. Off camera.
Yeah, and I like that idea. Officer pulls you over. I'm going to need you to step out of the car. Don't worry, I got my own breathalyzer.
That's it.
Yeah, 93 too.
Taint.
Taint approved.
Taint hot.
Hey, I got a question for Cam.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, Cam, how much writing have you been getting done, or is that a thing, or how does this work for you?
Writing?
Writing.
Yeah, it's been pretty rough. We went from, what was it? Was it LA Auto Show? That was that we just had. So we went from a period of time where the purse was wide open.
Got it, Johnny.
That time where
John.
we were uncertain and things were kind of on hold, and then now the new things have come out, and I'm basically like, I think per paycheck right now, I'm making about a third of what I was before. So there's a project that I'm actually writing up, and I can't submit feature articles right now, or I can, but I won't get really like paid for them. I'm waiting for features to come back, but I have a car that's torn apart in the driveway for a feature article, and I needed some parts to finish it up, and I asked a vendor for free parts, not because I needed to ask the vendor for free parts, but because that's what I'm trying to do to be a little smarter with my money to get this project finished.
For sure.
So I'm looking for, I'm actively looking for other stuff to do. I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty annoyed because, you know, I worked a long time to get to a point where I could write full time and not need a real job. And I'm actually thinking about going out and getting a real job.
Nice.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Because I just, you know, want to make sure that I can. I'm not worried about getting my bills paid. I'm worried about maintaining a standard of living that lets me buy bike parts and car parts and stuff like that. So I'm not as bad off as like some other people, but
for sure.
I want to, you know, I'm thinking about wanting to solve the problem before there is a problem. I don't have, by the way, I don't have an infrared thing. I have a laser bore sighter though.
Johnny Mac's got a fever of 106.7.
Yeah, what the fuck, dude?
I'm sorry.
Is that an infrared fucking thermometer or a radio? I think you might be listening to Light Rock.
I was pointing it at a light bulb.
Oh, you fucker.
I thought it was like a stroke temperature. It's like
That's what I was going to say. We worked that heat up.
You're still using incandescent light bulbs?
Apparently he is.
What the hell?
Yeah, apparently he is, because my LED's running at a crystal clean 89 Frankenstein. Nak, you work at an amusement park.
I do.
Yeah. And so that shit is closed for.
It's closed.
Yeah.
I was making like last minute signs, like, you know, last month we're open at the 27th. 27th rolls around. Nothing.
You're just fucking closed.
Yeah, they have like staff, like senior staff that meet and basically dictate, you know, employment policy from henceforth. But like, even the guys who can work from home, like the other designers, they're just told to not work because there's nobody else to do the building. For
Steve just fell down. Steve just fell down.
Oh no!
Get up, Steve! Get up! You gotta finish the podcast.
What the fuck? He can't get up.
The dude just became legless. Literally just lost his legs.
Did he have a heart attack? What happened to him?
Don't die!
Don't be sewer guy. Don't do it.
What?
Hit your life alert button.
Shit. Read
Hit the button.
Oh yeah, Nak, great example. I'm gonna post something on my Facebook that you'll see in a little bit. But I basically did like a really well researched historical article for like the Corvette site that I write for.
Yeah.
I put a ton of work into it, knowing full well that I would just get like the regular rate that I get for like just a small, few hundred word article. Just because I wanted something to write and something to do, and getting paid a little bit was a bit better than not getting paid anything. So I hope things go back to normal-ish soon.
Anybody need a beer?
I think there is a lot of...
I'd have a beer.
I'd have a beer.
I'll take one. There's a lot of
beer right now.
There's a lot of uncertainty as far as like what's going to happen, but I mean the fact is these are all front pages of forums, so it's a lot of people that are at home. It definitely has changed like how I find stuff to pitch. Yeah, so I've been trying to pitch like a lot of like really small, simple projects that people have been doing to write up to inspire people. Like I wrote one. I'm writing one this weekend about a guy.
Hold on, I think Steve Hoffert might be working. He might be recording some Whitecast.
Oh, he's got crew.
Nice to meet you.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow.
Yep.
Did you know your dad just fell off his stool?
Are you hammered?
Sorry.
Are you hammered?
Sorry.
Are you hammered?
Why the fuck did you fall down?
You know why? He was using that compressor thing to push his stool in. And he
Hold that up again.
So I am sorry. I'm an alcoholic.
I think we all are. Don't worry about it.
I'm learning to be one.
There goes Steve. He's all fancy, speaking in cursive again.
Sorry, I had to get rid of the juniors.
What are you doing? The juniors.
So like Nak, now instead of like writing up like a full build thread, I'll try to find somebody who did something that like our readers can be like, oh, I could go do that in the garage with the shit I already have right now.
Right on. Yeah.
Like, this weekend I'm writing about on like C3 Corvettes, the little wiper cowl area that nobody ever takes care of, that looks all gross. Like if you get the car repainted, it's filled with paint shop dust and how 40-year-old leaves and the corpses of 40-year-old leaves and stuff. And I'm like, that's like a simple, it's all stuff that you could do at home with stuff you've already got. You don't have to go out and get anything. So it's kind of really changed the way I find stuff to pitch, but there is a lot less of a calling for what I do right now. So
yeah. Do you do any creative writing at all?
I have been working on a couple things. I hate to say like I'm working on a book because that's just like the hack thing everybody says they are, but there are 2 books I'm working on. So
that's good, dude. You get yourself some time to reflect and shit, and use good words.
Use the big words. I don't get to use the big words quite often with what I do sometimes. So
where's that damn asshole cat when I need
Nice pussy, Phil.
Come here, Momo.
Jeez, up to his neck and pussy.
You're getting some
I'm an elephant.
Now we know how he got that haircut.
I'm an elephant.
Oh no!
Don't express those glands on his face, kitty.
Come here, Momo.
Wait, watch this. Ready? Here he comes. Dun.
Yeah. So how are your cats and your pets reacting to you guys being at home all the goddamn time?
I mean, we have cats, so they don't care. My chickens like, I'm always at home, but my chickens really like hanging out with Beth.
I hear an hour she calls me. The radio reminds me of my home.
Hey, we're gonna get demonetized. Come on, quit it.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah,
play the trap version.
Look, man, when it drops, you're gonna lose your mind.
Okay, so Phil, I need to know about the emails you've gotten in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Patreon.
Yeah, Patreon email.
Here we go. Wait a second. Here we go.
Kill the music.
No, that's good. Yeah, I mean, you can serenade me if you want. That's fine. All right, so here we go, guys. This is
Rand still live?
Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, so here we have Wilson. Wilson sent us a message, and it says, Phil, I hope this finds you well. I went down a rabbit hole on a few other podcasts a while back and have been on a hiatus from your show until earlier this week. I was quite surprised when I picked a recent episode to start catching back up. The quality of production has skyrocketed. And
Sleepy.
you all, exactly. And you all now have a Patreon. It was a pretty quick decision to patronize you folks for bringing this show to us. I'd like to express a sincere thank you to yourself and all the crew for making this show and putting it out. The casual roundtable format is perfect for just about any listening environment, garage, work, commute, etc. The tech tips are insightful and useful, and we all like the drunken shenanigans, or as I like to call it, drunkenanigans.
Nice.
TM. In a time when you can't even get free fucking compressed air at the gas station, podcasts are a strange phenomenon. Hours and hours and content for no monies. Even more astounding is that there are shows like yours with a complete absence of ads. I imagine I speak for many of the patrons when I say I was glad to do something small on my behalf to keep this thing rolling forward for all of us. I'm sorry, to keep this thing rolling forward for all of us. Plus, I think I'll get hooked up with some swag. So hopefully you've got some shirts because I'm a big guy, wide, not tall, which brings me to my next point. I need a bigger scooter. I've got a couple of bikes, but a year or two ago at an auction, I picked up a ran when parked scooter with no key and a questionable title that had tags from 08 on it. I was pretty quickly hooked on the scooter. I can get so much shit on it. It quickly became the go-to vehicle for trips and trips to the grocery store, parts store, run, burrito retrieval, etc. However, as previously stated, I'm a big, over 300, and shorter than average guy. Phil, the Metropolitan just ain't cutting it anymore. Things, fat guy on a little bike. I was poking around on your website. Do you still have that Red Buddy 125? If so, I'd like to buy it. Let me know. Thanks again to you and everyone else for the podcast. P.S. Thanks for giving Flat Track a little love on a recent episode. So there you go. So that's, dude, Wilson, rad. I understand this correctly. I've read between the lines. You're a 300-plus pound person riding a fucking Metropolitan?
125? Jeez.
No, Metropolitan.
That's what he's looking for, 50? Yeah. Yep.
50. I can't make 49. I can only make 50. So, yeah, if you're a big bloke riding a Metropolitan, yeah, exactly. 49, yeah. So if you're a big dude and you're riding a Metro 50, you do need to change bikes. The Buddy 125 is straight up 100% unfuckwithable.
Yeah. At the tank.
I
you
can
can't kill one.
Yeah, and I can confidently say too, like, I cleaned out the carburetor on the LX 150.
Yeah.
That's like right now is the only bike I have that Beth likes riding on the back of.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's easily combined over 300 pounds with the two of us on the bike, and it does great. Honestly, I think I took the recommendations and actually finally put more pressure in the rear wheel or rear tire.
Yeah.
And it actually does handle a lot better. I definitely need new rubber this year, but I mean, don't count out a good deal on an LX 150. I'm sure.
Absolutely. All these bikes, the LX is sound as a pound. The People 150 is great. The Buddy is retard strong.
Down and get it out of the way.
Dude, he needs to get a BV 500. That's my.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
Hey guys, would you be interested in even something weirder? Would you be interested in something even a little stranger than the BV 500?
Oh, your 250 that you have?
Nope.
What?
How about something in a delightful shade of Airstream silver? How about the other exotic Italian?
A Fly?
Something that's even harder to get parts for, but faster. How about an Aprilia Scarabeo 500?
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
A sports scooter.
All time.
Yeah.
Now that fucker has got from the factory an alarm system built into the fucking bike with a whoop whoop keychain. It has got the passenger pegs are mounted in giant aluminum fucking bosses that and the speedo cluster is in this like machined, milled, beautiful fucking CNC presentation grade chunk of billet. One of those wandered in my shop the other day. I'm excited. I'm straight up excited.
Was it a trade-in or?
Yeah. This is the bastard child that existed before Piaggio had the presence of mind to purchase Aprilia. And Aprilia was still on their own. And Aprilia was doing things like they were influenced by Piaggio, but they were straight up fucking weirdo radical shit. And I got one of those Aprilia 500s. And they're fierce. So
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
When Aprilia was acquired by Piaggio, did you notice like just a better quality build or more reliability? In the Aprilia brand.
Nak, so there's the picture right there. Take a look at that. That's got the windshield. That's got the sliding secondary adjustable windshield. The one that I have, if you scroll up, ours is in the lovely shade of Airstream Silver. Keep going.
Nice.
Whoever's doing that, there you go. That's it. And so the deal was, when Aprilia was on their own, Aprilia was free to throw money away like a drunken sailor. Everything was Brembo. Everything was like way top shelf, and they were not afraid to go into debt.
Scooters, and I'll be in tomorrow to buy it.
And there.
So, was I actually able to see the oil fill plug there on that 500? So it's not like the Scarabeo 150 where it's like buried back behind the fucking frame.
Yeah, the Scarabeo 150, you had to take the motor out to use the dipstick.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so the way the Scarabeo 150 was designed is they put the dipstick directly behind the passenger's peg panel on the Scarabeo 150. And the weird thing about the Scarabeo 150 is, for being only a 150cc, the bike was strong as fuck. Like, it would run 70, 75 miles an hour.
Great bike.
Asked. Yeah, it was a great bike, but maintenance on it was a son of a bitch. You lifted up the seat, and there was no storage area whatsoever. There was an air filter, and that was it. And so, when the Scarabeo 150 came out, they were, whoa, Kromke, look at you.
Wow.
Hey.
Nice.
Kromke's never fucking around when it comes to the booze.
When it comes to booze, he's
the man.
Nice job, on point.
What time do you open tomorrow morning for me to be in there?
For you, Steve, I'll be there at 11. Yeah, at the crack of 11. So, this thing's been sitting for a while. It hasn't fired up in a long time. I put a new battery in it, but it's going to need to have, stuff worked out. But it's got,
I'd like lick that fucking motorcycle. I love that.
It's a really good bike. Yeah. And
I think Kit standing there wants to know what else you would lick.
Well, but here's the problem,
buddy.
So, like a lot of other...
Oh, you are very delectable.
Okay, well, here's what I have to say is, like a lot of Aprilia motorcycles and Aprilia scooters, they're magical, but don't let them break. Because if they break, you're fucked.
I know that, but you know what? I love that thing because it's got the widest seat of all time. Doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's totally comfortable.
You're so blasted right now.
Oh yeah.
Every week, Nak. This is.
We love him for it.
I love it. I love it.
Right.
Sorry.
There you go.
No, don't be sorry.
Don't be sorry.
Steve.
No.
There you go, Steve.
Don't apologize.
Yeah.
Oscar's going straight at the Don J bomb. Oh my God. Well, so come by the shop tomorrow and check that thing out. But I haven't started, like, seriously, it's one of those things that the customer that brought it in traded it in. It hasn't run in like 2 years. So
miles are on it.
What's that? Oh no, not many miles at all. Like nowhere near enough miles.
Okay, well, I'll be there tomorrow.
Like less than 3,000 miles. Yeah. So
I love those bikes. I mean, the wide body ones, like they when they got bought out,
Yeah.
they like made them exactly like the Scarabeos.
Right. Yeah.
And the old ones were way better.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And and that is true. So when Aprilia was when Aprilia was doing things on their own without Piaggio being involved, Aprilia was free to write as many rubber checks as they wanted to. And so all these manufacturers all over Europe were like totally thrilled to send Aprilia shit. So, Rotax, yeah, go ahead. Brembo, yeah, go ahead. Everything, Minarelli, everything that you wanted is on that Aprilia 500. It's pretty fucking rad. Yeah.
Hey, John, that looks like a little RC model airplane gas thing from a Cox .049 motor.
It does.
It's moonshine in a kerosene can.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
That's all right.
Yeah, it looks like the gas can that I used to have for my my RC helicopter. They used to have the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, John, where does one find a can of booze?
Moonshine whiskey?
This was this is Stillhouse Original Moonshine, America's finest, from Stillhouse Spirits Company USA. And this was a Christmas present from my brother-in-law, who apparently hates me and wanted to kill me with this. But it's not really high proof. It's only about it's like 100 proof. It's not like White Lightning grade whiskey or moonshine.
Oh,
but it is Stillhouse is crafted using our proprietary all natural recipe and estate grown corn. So it's corn liquor.
There you go.
Oh, speaking of,
you got there, Chris Smith.
This is some Uncle Nearest, 1856. Little bourbon.
Oh shit!
Oh, is this the part of the podcast where we talk about?
Where are you going?
Mute yourself.
Come back.
Yourself.
I think just Steve went on his own beer run. Straight up.
He's not coming back, dude. I don't think he's coming back.
He got up to use the bathroom in your shop. He's going to walk all the way there.
Just to be on the door.
Use the tiki toilet. And then walk.
Actually, he's probably going to walk all the way to my shop, and I'll be there. He'll be there tomorrow morning when I get there to get that Aprilia.
I think we're starting to realize that he actually lives in his garage. Like all the people just come visit him in the garage, and he just lives.
He's always there. Yep.
So you guys know, about 20 feet away from his garage is where he keeps his chickens. And so the chicken, and then there's a dog. There's a dog that barks at me every time I drop a bike off, and that dog's about 20 feet away from that garage door.
I thought Cam was a chicken guy. I didn't know that Steve had some.
No, Steve's got chickens. Steve's very proud of his chickens.
I think Steve has more chickens than I do.
With chickens.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. I'd have chickens if I could. I love eggs. Don't get me wrong. I would. But I live out here in, suburban.
You live out in the country. You can't have chickens.
I live out in the country. Yeah. I live in the whitest possible area.
Yeah, everybody starts the word yes with an M by you. They're like,
I live in an Akron suburb not so affectionately referred to as Caucasian Falls, and I just made sure neither one of my neighbors would narc on me, and I got chicken.
Wow.
Well, wait a second. But you live from the home of Chrissy Hyder. I mean,
Chrissy Hines.
Yeah, Chrissy Hines. Yeah.
Hi, Kit.
How
are you?
Hey, Cat. Cleveland Heights. Only white guy in the whole area.
So I would like, while we're all showing off our booze, I would like to mention that you can read my review of Rolling Rock. I know you're all dying to read what I think about Rolling Rock, or what anybody thinks about Rolling Rock.
Not Heineken, huh?
No, right. I had to go Rolling Rock. But it's in a Tone, Tone. Tone Audio Magazine. So it's a magazine for high-end hi-fi gear.
Another time, so you were excited about a mullet, and so now something that's been reviewed in 1984 like Rolling Rock, is now new again, and you get to review it again. So it's been long.
I mentioned that in my review. Rolling Rock is very different now than it was in 1984, and it's very different than it was in 2004.
Just wait till they bring back Zima for you.
They already did.
Oh no, please don't.
Yeah, we went to when I was out, and the one time I was out in LA, we went to a bar in North Hollywood, and Zima was on the menu, and I'm like, when in Rome, and that's the one thing I had to drink in North Hollywood.
Oh man.
So Cam, tell me how Rolling Rock is different now than it was in 1994.
Okay, so Rolling Rock was started out as like a family brewery, and it was kind of like a high-end sort of treat for like the working class folks that worked out there. This is like real Cliff's Notes of my review. But basically, Labatt's bought the brewery in 1988, and they went to go take it White Claw Zima. But Chris, Labatt's basically wanted to take Rolling Rock nationwide, but they also wanted to kind of preserve it. So for a period of time, it was America's largest microbrewery. And then they got purchased by Anheuser-Busch in 2006. They moved the brewing from that same brewery to New Jersey. And the only thing that's actually...
So from Latrobe, Pennsylvania to New
so it's
Jersey.
not in Latrobe anymore. And everything's different. The bottles are different. The bottles aren't silk screened. Instead of lattice work on here, it's just solid, and it's a sticker. But it still talks about it's from the glass-lined tanks of old Latrobe, but the only things that are brewed in glass-lined tanks is the canned Rolling Rock. The bottled Rolling Rock is just brewed in a regular tank in New Jersey by InBev.
So where did you find out?
Was it the same recipe, though?
I don't think so. I mean, I only tasted it before they changed it. You know how, like...
I got a picture of the amazing, beautiful facility at the... at Rolling Rock, where Rolling Rock comes from, there at InBev. You can see the craftsmanship right there.
Yeah.
Clearly, it's a artisanal microbrewer.
That's what is that? City Brewing now or something in Latrobe? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, up until about 15 years ago, 14 years ago, it was brewed in Latrobe, and it was a much tastier beer. It definitely had a more special taste to it. Now Rolling Rock, it's very inoffensive, which is kind of what I don't like about it. But the problem is that, when you're in like a teenager or you're in college or whatever, you kind of pick like your domestic beer. Like some people are like Budweiser guys, and some people are, what are some of the other beers we got? They drink pretty good. Some people are Busch guys. Some people are Budweiser guys, whatever. I had I had sealed my fate as a Rolling Rock guy right before the changeover. And now, like, every time I drink Rolling Rock, I expect it to taste the way it did the first couple times I tasted it. And it doesn't.
So you're disappointed with the quality of the beer.
Yeah.
Nothing in a green bottle.
Right. That's my rule of thumb: is don't trust any beer in a green bottle. It's about 30% are skunk to fuck.
Right. That's what I was saying. Like, I think a lot of guys that like golden showers drink bottles of green beer.
Yeah, green bottles are a bad idea.
Yeah.
Is that the room temperature brand? Is that what you're talking about, or a little bit warmer?
Yeah, room temperature, tastes like piss, comes in a green bottle. They're all just.
I'm going
to say this: that Cinch and I are going to invite everybody up to Detroit to the Detroit Brewing Company to taste the original recipe of Stroh's beer on draft. Original recipe done by Detroit Brewing Company. So that's going to be a day ride up there.
I thought he was kidding. I thought he was kidding last year, and he was like, "Hey, we're going to ride to Michigan for 3.5 hours, ride on our bikes to go buy Stroh's." And I'm like, I don't ever want to have Stroh's ever again. I'm not 16 anymore. He was like, no, seriously. And so we went
to St. Mary's, PA, and you can get Straub, the original.
Straub's a great beer.
Free on tap. You can never-ending tap. You can just go there and drink all you want.
That's right. I'll do that too.
It was a legitimately good beer. Like it sucks that like they homogenized it and made it kind of crappy with the thing, but the original formula is great, man. That's a good beer.
Is this? Did I miss the part where we're sounding off on what we're drinking?
Oh yeah,
no. Hey, you missed it.
Hey, I got to let you guys know that we've been demonetized. Apparently, Coronacast 274.
Yeah.
According to YouTube. We just got fucking demonetized.
You played some music or what?
I don't know.
Probably. They have a really weird selection of words that you're not allowed to say.
Yeah.
Cock.
So, well, no.
It's mostly
Nobody say the word.
Right.
The virus. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
That's true.
Yeah. So there you go.
I heard that.
Yep. Yeah. Just so you know.
But yeah, there's a situation where Chris Hansen from To Catch a You Know What, we can't say the word, don't say the word, or we'll get demonetized. Mm-hmm. He's actually documenting one of like the first guys that was famous on YouTube who is still making videos and still like going after underage people.
Okay.
But the guy that's going after him for being you know what that starts with P.
Right. A creditor
got demonetized. Well, he got demonetized for saying, since you said it, he got demonetized for saying predator. But the guy who's an actual
I said creditor with a C. Creditor.
Yeah,
Sorry,
fuck
Phil.
those guys.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so YouTube still lets the you know what make money, but he doesn't let the guy going after the you know what make money.
Wait a minute. So what if I was going to say I really love the movie Alien vs. something? I can't say that.
I don't know if it's context based or what, or if certain words just get filtered out for demonetization. And I don't know why.
AI. Artificial.
Hey, Steve, you're muted.
Oh.
How? You're muted.
Talk louder, Steve. Just
be a question for you.
What is Nak drinking?
Oh,
there you go.
Now that you asked, I am now on a gin and tonic, and I was
an aristocrat.
I was pouring myself some coffee liqueur, stuff from St. George Brewery, but it's New Orleans coffee liqueur. With that, I'm adding a little bit of coffee and a little bit of cream and a bunch of ice.
That's delicious.
Yeah, nice.
I hit that.
That's good.
So I guess we didn't ask you. So since your amusement park is closed, what are you doing? Like you're just home chilling and
riding.
Yeah,
sandwiches.
I'm at home chilling, trying to get a little bit of ride. The job's been pretty cool about giving us our putting us on administrative leave, so we're still on the health insurance plan.
Right.
And they cover us for 2 weeks, and then right now they're giving us 20 hours, and we could just supplement it with our pay time off. And I got a fuck ton of pay time off, so yeah, I should get me through April pretty good, maybe early May, but we don't know what the fuck's going on after that.
Just ask.
If it gets weird, Nak, you can just come out to Cleveland and fucking do basic services and huck fucking tires, man.
Fuck yeah. Why not, man? You know?
Yeah.
We are actually, our service department right now is fucking slammed.
Yeah.
Because the way this hit, the timing of this, it's the strangest thing, but the way that the exact timing worked out, the second that they said, oh, we got to go into sequestered, we got to go into a lockdown thing, like a stay-at-home thing, was the exact time that we would normally be ramping up into our, let's get my bike ready.
Yeah.
And for us, March and April is carburetors and tires and belts and just super fast basic services out the ass. And so we've been running a 20 bike stack. So we've been running a 20 bike lineup in the shop, and every day I'm running out and I'm picking up, I'm sure you guys see online, I'm picking up between 8 and 12 bikes per day. And it's so funny because we got our service department right now is just assholes and elbows. It's funny as fuck to see the way our shop is so crazy seasonal.
Yeah, and you guys are pretty much the only game in town as far as maintenance and service, right, for bikes?
Well, the weird thing is we're the only shop that will work on bikes that are over 14 years old.
Oh, shit, yeah, okay.
So everyone else is
Scarabero 500 off your hands tomorrow, so.
It's good to see he's completely committed.
No, Steve.
I am committed because I need something with a wider ride for my wife.
Steve, I was just out in the garage. I'm prepared to give you one FT500, 2 snow blowers, a lawnmower, a small generator, and a cooler full of beer for your Africa Twin.
and a sandblast will be named later.
Yeah.
This is a good deal for you. You should jump on it right now.
Better bring an IPA.
And for a good buddy.
So Okay, so do you guys want to hear a cautionary tale?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So many, many years ago, back in the year of our Lord 2003, I sold a Stella when Stellas were brand fucking new. I sold a Stella to a guy, a cat who's just a super cool dude. And the day that he picked up the bike at my old shop on West 25th Street, he jumped on the bike. He'd never ridden a two-stroke before. He'd never ridden a scooter before, and he damn sure never ridden a two-stroke scooter with a clutch before.
Perfect storm. Perfect storm.
I may have been there for this.
And so this guy went from 0 to 12 o'clock across 4 lanes of West 25th Street and missed a light pole and a crackhead by like 3 inches on each side.
Yeah.
That's a different one.
And he rode it out.
Target fixating to those flagpoles and crackheads, man. You know?
That's a different one because we sold a Stella to a kid at the Lakewood shop.
Yeah.
And he did 4 consecutive wheelies. Ring, bam, bam, landed it. Ring, bam, another wheelie, landed it, and then finally on like the 3rd or 4th one, dumped it into the fucking curb. It was awesome.
Yeah, the dude had massive, amazing clutch control, but the world's worst throttle control. So like his left hand was extremely skilled. His right hand, bullshit.
He's the lefty then. Yeah.
He is a lefty.
Yep.
Don't do that, man. It looks so gross from over here.
Have you guys noticed now that 3.5 weeks?
So bad. It's a pterodactyl. Ah!
3.5 weeks in quarantine, and there's all the toilet paper you ever want, but there's no hand lotion anymore.
Oh boy.
I wonder why.
Oh boy.
I know.
So
Sleepy,
this cat,
I made the decision to myself 3 weeks ago. If I run out of toilet paper, I'm using a sock, and you take that comment any which way you want to. Sorry.
I've come home from the bar many, many nights with only one sock.
Yeah.
There's nothing to be ashamed of.
You guys, you have a power washer? You know, set up a little station in the back and just turn the power washer on.
John's showing us his weenus.
They're always said, like, if you go to a truck stop, most truckers only have one sock on, and then you wonder why there's a sock in the middle of the highway. Well, you know.
I knew about piss jugs, but I didn't know about shit socks until just now.
It's not a shit sock. It's a load sock is what it is.
The saddest road sock.
In the military, the official military vernacular for that is a happy sock.
Dude, I don't think that sock's happy.
That's the fucking happiest sock you're gonna have for 16 weeks. Yeah. For 16 weeks, that's all you got is that happy sock.
You're putting lipstick on the end of it. You're like, oh. Yeah.
So the dude who wheelied the Stella out from my shop back in 2003 decides that 17 years later he's going to show up and buy Leon, which is one of the 3 Vespa P200s. They're all burgundy. They were part of the Michigan scooter mafia. These old guys that all decided to quit riding Honda Goldwings. They started with Harleys. They got older and they went to Goldwings. They were all Navy veteran buddies together back in Korea. And they went from Hondas to Harleys to
I know what that is, John.
tan lines.
Yeah.
So they had these 3 bikes, and these 3 bikes were all set up the same way. They were all burgundy P200s, and they all had like cylinder kits and pipes and like every J.C. Whitney fucking accessory you could put on a Vespa. Air compressors, 10-disc Pioneer CD changers, everything. They were magnificent. And so I had sold off Casper and I had sold off Sparky, but I still had Leon. And Leon was the one that I rode a couple of years ago in the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride with the police bobby hat on and the whole British police shit. So that was the bike I was riding then. Sold it to this cat who thought that because he could master a Stella, he could master a Stella, that he was totally okay and checked out for a Vespa P200. And not realizing that a P200 and a Stella, although similar in appearance, are slightly different in maintenance.
Not the same. Yeah.
Not the same. And so at the same time, this guy owned a beat-to-shit Stella, and I mean epically beat-to-shit, and a really, really nice P200 of the old man variety. And today I picked them both up. So now I got a really fucking beat to shit Stella that runs pretty good, and a old man Leon. I got Leon back today. So that happened.
One of the three amigos? You got one of the three amigos?
I got one of the three amigos back.
I've been missing two smokes, dude. I've been like,
yeah. So we got so Leon
is running, right? Is that what you said?
What's that?
Leon is running. You just got to
Leon's running, and the fucked up, the world's worst. Like, you might think you're a hard motherfucker, but you are not 2003 Stella crashed 100 times hard. Like, nobody's that fucking hard. Is that you, McElfresh? Jesus Christ. What the fuck? There's a lot of rage in that picture.
Yeah.
There's also
drinking.
There's also a lot of Sun Country wine coolers in that picture, too. I think we're going to call that one Bartles and James, or Bartles and Shames. Wow. Holy Christ. So which one are you? The one that they're all staying away from?
Yes.
Oh, no, you're the one right in the middle. You're the one holding them all up. Yeah. So it's been like, so today was the day of picking up some fucking true straight up two-stroke veterans.
Yeah.
So we got that.
So how long are you taking on each bike typically right now? What's your throughput like as far as work goes? You're in there like 2-3 days, boom. You're kind of like, you're able to kind of hash them out pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, most of the stuff we're pulling in is standard springtime shit. Springtime shit is like, I don't know why my bike's not running, which is always a fuel problem, right?
Right.
Especially around here, because winter means nobody's riding anything for 4 months. So
yeah. So you got like a reliable problem tree that you're going down under, and it's like hitting it every time pretty much, huh?
Everything we do is, seriously, my God, Jesus Christ, John. Holy shit. Hold that up again.
Put it away.
Oh my fucking God, man. Holy sassafrasquatch.
Oh, dude. Bro, you're shredded, bro. Look at you.
Jesus Christ.
Muscles got muscles.
God.
Dude.
Look at you.
He's going to want to leg wrestle.
Jesus.
Yeah. Andre the Giant style. Anybody want the peanut? Like,
I am the Brute Squad.
Yeah.
He's not used to fighting only one person at a time. So, yeah, it is.
Later that day, this guy got his teeth knocked out.
Oh, shit.
That guy you was.
Well, he was fucking with one of the girls, with that girl I was standing with, and like saying all kinds of rude shit. So I had to fuck him up.
Damn.
My name's John McElfresh, and these are my knuckles.
So Phil, is like a quick aside and a piggyback on your story. I did everything you told me to do. You guys told me to do last year when I put the Z-Rex away.
Yeah.
Emptied everything out, fogged the carburetor.
Bought a fuel-injected bike.
Well, almost everything.
The Z125. But I put like a little bit of gas in it. There was like a tiny bit at the bottom of the tank that I couldn't get out without pulling the tank off. And I started the bike up, and it started up fine.
Yeah.
And when I would go, once it was warmed up, when I would pull back on the throttle, it would hesitate. And I'm like, shit, it's either not enough gas, old gas, or my carbs are dirty because I missed something. I'm going through everything. Like,
I've got a check tip.
So I went and, what's that?
Well, the tech tip is if you're going to add new gas, or if you're not going to, or if you have a little bit left in there, pull a fuel line off or unscrew your drain plugs and let some of the fresh stuff get through the line,
Right.
Like with the buddies, you do a carb clean and everything, but I always pull the fuel line off and hit the starter a little bit and let it run some of the fresh gas through the line, then hook it up, and that way
you got to donate that old gas to your fallen homies, man. Spill a little out for the brothers.
So I did like the really low effort version of it because I was going through like all three of the bikes, getting them ready. And I rode it to the gas station on what little gas was left. And I put all new gas in. And then I pulled my my measuring cup and my seafoam out of my backpack. And I put in 5.5 ounces of seafoam into the tank. And then I did an Italian tune-up up State Road and then up Broad Boulevard.
Yeah.
And so I've put a grand total of 1.5 miles on that bike this year. And A, the problem's fixed, and B, already terrified of it.
Yep.
Holy
Absolutely.
fuck, that bike is fast.
And
Like,
you know what? That's a fucking amazing motorcycle. And the Z-Rex is is totally worthy of everything. But if John Cochran, if Johnny Chrome were here right now, he would tell you that he found a whole new level of hatred in his life working on the carbs. On those bikes.
That was my thought when I pulled the throttle back a couple times and it hesitated. I was like, oh no. And I'm like, hey, I can't post about this on social media or talk about it on the podcast because Johnny Chrome is going to tell me I told you so, and he's going to be right. Number one. And number two, I feel dumb because maybe I did something wrong. But no, the issue really was apparently not enough fuel. Because I've never run that bike dry before.
Yeah. What's Chrome's beef with that bike? Is it just like having to deal with the carbs and it's just buried underneath the tank? And
like you can tell, Nak, just from looking at the bike, like as one piece. Like if you're at a Cars and Coffee or something and someone's got one of those and you just go up and look, you can tell how much of a cunt those carburetors are to get out of that bike.
Yeah.
It's one of those machines where everything in the world, like. Okay, McElfresh is getting weird. All right.
All the shit that you don't need to get to is really easy to get to. And the things that are really important to be able to get to are kind of a bitch to get to.
Yeah.
And
I like the chain adjustment, though. It got the eccentric.
Yeah, the chain adjustment's pretty...
Everything on that bike is fucking fantastic. If they would have spent an extra $48 and put fuel injection on it.
Yeah.
If they would have
got in 2006. And do you know when they stopped selling that bike in the US? 2005.
Yeah. And that's not joking around. If that bike were to be fuel injection, it would be fucking perfect.
It would be the perfect motorcycle.
And just like the Bandits and shit, the Bandits, when the Bandits became fuel injected, every problem I've ever had with a Bandit has been carburetor related. And so it takes a perfectly good bike and fucking, yeah, exactly.
10 dudes in a bathroom stall camera, yes.
Totally. 100%.
Wait, is it McElfresh or Johnny Chrome that we're asking?
McElfresh.
The guy who's fascinated by the fact that he keeps holding his phone up to the camera.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to have to say Camaro.
Yes.
So I would say Johnny Chrome is only kind of Camaro, and I would say I'm only kind of Camaro. Like I'm yellow C4 Corvette Camaro, but I'm yellow Z51 C4 Corvette Camaro.
Yeah, so a buddy at work had a Xerox. I forgot what year it was, and I remember taking it around
you
the
are
block.
a teenager with a Camaro.
I ran over my neighbors. Sorry, not what were you saying?
And that just made you 15% less Camaro.
Yeah, right.
I'll give you that.
I like how Camaros are like 50% bumper.
Yes.
Just a long snout.
Cam just lost his SS badge. Now he's just straight Camaro.
He might only be IROC at this point.
Oh, okay. Really quick. Sorry, Nak. I have to.
No, go for it.
I have to tell you guys a really quick story. So my mom, and Phil's met my mom and knows exactly what kind of person my mom is. But
Can we get a picture, please.
I mean,
burn.
So, I'm not going to entertain that. So, anyways, when my mom graduated from high school, before she went to like the tech school to learn drafting and become an engineer, back when engineer were still called draftsmen, her father presented her with her graduation gift, which was a blue '68 Camaro RS.
Yeah.
And as my mom said, he handed her the payment book, and as my mom said, I didn't even get to pick the color. So when she went to the tech school, the guys at the tech school got the SS badges. And put the SS badges on her 6-cylinder Camaro.
What, they couldn't hold the 396?
Yeah, so we figured out that my mom might be the first ricer. It's like the website. I think it was a guy. Was it a guy in? I think it was a guy in San Francisco that Brian Hong, who coined the term Rice Boy,
right, and
created the first page, riceboypage.com, which is still live and still like 1998 as fuck as far as web design goes. Yeah. he did some archaeology through his like photos back in the days when you had to take a picture with a disposable camera and put it on a scanner. And, trying to find the first ricer. And I'm like, nope, my mom was the first ricer back in 1960. So, sorry, Nak, I'm sorry, you're saying a coworker had a Xerox?
Yeah, no, I rode it around the block, and I was surprised of how linear the power is on that thing.
Yeah.
It's just fat and buttery. Even for like an inline 4, you're not having to like burble it up at the top.
Yep.
And I was, 0 to 60, whatever, down the block, a fun time, and I can see why. I mean, he was a big black dude, so I can see why he enjoyed it very much. You know, it's fucking super smooth. It's got attitude. He had like a
couldn't find a Hayabusa.
No, he has a ZX14 actually. Carl Spate, the realest motherfucker at the boardwalk.
I was so pissed off because I got I bought my Z-Rex, and then like a month later, I think the guy that's two-timing my neighbors across the street got a Hayabusa.
Neighbors plural?
I'm not. I said I spoke incorrectly, but my neighbor across the street, who is I'm pretty sure it's either a family member or somebody that's two-timing them because they only come during the day while the husband's at work.
Oh yeah.
And they've got a Hayabusa. And they
just call that guy Jody.
Yeah, there's an R&B song written about him apparently.
Exactly.
Yeah, Jody with the Hayabusa.
Right.
Wow. I was kind of pissed because I had my Z-Rex and I had the biggest dick on the block for like 3 weeks, and then the Hayabusa showed up.
Well, Cam, you better fucking show up tomorrow at 1 a.m. and p.m.
I'm not saying I'm opposed to it.
Just core out your muffler. Core out your muffler and your,
No, I got a Kirker slip-on on it. It sounds
nice.
I really like the way it sounds. I still want to do the 4-into-1, but that involves rejetting the carbs, which means
Wait.
carbs.
You said you have a strap on and you're waiting to do the 4-into-1?
I said I have a slip-on.
Okay.
And I want to do the 4-into-1.
I did hear that. Yeah, that happened. Yeah.
So I got
I got the Bandit. Shame around here.
I got the Bandit up and running recently, and I'm running into an issue. I think I'm gonna have to take the carbs back off, but it's it like hangs at around 2,000 RPM. But when it does drop down, it just stops. So I'm thinking it's a low speed jet because I was either thinking that or an air leak in the boots.
Air leak.
Air leak. I sprayed it with carb cleaner. I didn't tell any difference in RPMs. But
you move your handlebars from left to right to left.
Yeah, I did that too.
Do you still have a drag radial from a car as your rear tire?
No, I have
perfectly flat and no tread.
Well, it's showing through to some cords now, and I can't take it to ClevelandMoto to get it replaced anymore since they have 2 workers and they're booked. But
oh, come on!
I waited too long on that one.
You know, if you show up, we'll slide you in.
Yeah. Time to watch some YouTube videos and get yourself some tire irons, man.
I have tire irons. I just don't want to touch a tubeless rim.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you show up, we'll just run back and we'll throw that shit on a tire machine. I mean, realistically, anybody at my shop except for Renee could get that thing changed out for you pretty quickly. So
I'll keep that in mind. I still have to find some Pirelli Angel STs. But
yeah. I mean that's a fantastic tire. The Angel has always been a good tire for me. And what's funny is they're getting to be a little long in the tooth, but every bike I've ever done like an impromptu track day on, or like an opportunity to go do something I shouldn't be doing on the bike, if I've got Angels on it, the fucking thing just works. And they're really good tires. And whereas the Rosa Corsas are really weird because they're like, when they're dry or when they're cold, they'll kill you. Like the Corsa 2s, they're very dangerous tires until they're hot. And then when they're hot, they're fucking amazing.
Yeah,
Diablos are good.
That's what I have on my on the Motard, and it's like running. It's like at 25 pounds.
Yeah,
and it's it starts sliding a little more predictably as it warms up. But for the most part,
Those are the Diablos.
The Diablo 2s or some Red Devil 2s.
They stick no matter what.
Right. And it's the whole trick with those is it's all temperature based on those tires for some reason. And a lot of companies will use those as an OEM tire. And, you get somebody who lays the thing down in the first 90 feet. And the trick is you got to like ease into it. That's a tire that is like anal. The longer you take getting into it, the better it is. And it's, you don't rush in. And we've seen people lay bikes out within 15 minutes of leaving the shop. And meanwhile, though, if you take your time, 20, 30 minutes, 40 minutes in, that fucking thing will hang around a corner, elbow down, It's a really good tire. Yeah.
So the Zeros come with that, right?
Yeah, Zeros come stock with that, and so do a lot of Moto Guzzi's. So a lot of Guzzi's come stock with that tire. It's a really, really good tire that gets a bad reputation because people go out and try to do shit on it before it's warmed up. Yeah.
Nick, what size did we figure out your carburetors were?
They're Mikuni BST 32s.
Yeah, 32s. Yeah.
It's just,
And you measure the inside, Bill, right? Not the outside when you're measuring carburetors. Is that how that works?
I'm laughing because I think it's funny because
I got 24s on my Vespa.
I think the Keans on my Xerox are like 34s. And
I think Oscar's got 19s on his Vespa.
Oh, yeah.
Does that mean if you have 24s and you have a 4-cylinder, does that mean you can make one carburetor that's a 100 and it would work?
Yeah, 4 times 24. You could have a 98 and it'd be awesome.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I'm
That's
sorry.
8 times the area, though.
Put your fucking fist through it, just like there you go.
But I think
if you had a 100,
24.
I have a 100 millimeter carburetor.
100 millimeter carburetor. You could have a 100 millimeter carburetor.
I think I have only 8 millimeters more of carburation than Nick does on my Xerox, and then Nick wonders why you get like 26 miles to the gallon out of that.
Yeah.
It's a good bike, though. I like that. I'm glad to see you putting work into it.
Well, I did take the Bandit around the block a couple weeks ago. Like it rides fine. It just doesn't idle very well. But like the first time I got on it this year and really gave it some throttle, and obviously 400cc 4-cylinder up to about 14,000 RPM is ridiculous.
Oh, it's a 400? That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, you've got the Racing Project Murashima exhaust.
Yeah, the 4-2 exhaust sounds great.
Sounds amazing.
So you know what? I think tomorrow I'm going to work on the CB1. I'm doing it. I was supposed to do it today, but I decided just to do nothing. But tomorrow I'm going to do that.
I love that CB1. That CB1 was so cool to ride.
Yeah, it needs a CB1 today.
We forgot.
It's just super nutty to have. Sorry, go ahead.
500 tomorrow.
What's that?
We'll say that again.
I think I'm buying a Scarabeo 500 tomorrow.
But we did forget to mention one thing. So Oscar, you hit a milestone last weekend.
Oh yeah. It's been a while. So I borrowed Sleepy's BB500, and it's been over 20 years since I've hit anything over 65 miles an hour. I was doing 90, or a little over 90 on Sleepy's BB500.
On a scooter?
On a scooter.
Sure, had plenty to go because he's about 60 pounds lighter than me. Something. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, no shit. Man, yeah that's flying.
Yeah.
The problem is I always assume that Oscar can go 1,000,000 miles an hour because I've tried to chase Oscar through Mexico, and Oscar scares the shit out of me anytime I'm in Mexico.
On the beat up P200, yeah.
On a P200 that should not be legally on the road.
Shouldn't be on the motor sideways.
Ever.
Wait, are you guys talking about actual Mexico or like the Mexico my buddies in we go on 480?
No, proper
Mexico.
Proper Mexico.
Anytime I end up going into Mexico, and it just seems like it's weird. Doesn't matter what bike I'm on. So sometimes I'll be like on a Triumph TT, like a 600 Tourist Trophy. Other times I'll be like on my CB400F, or other times I'll be on somebody's borrowed Vespa or a buddy. And no matter when I'm in Mexico, I always end up with Oscar. and like
fucking pinned to the
yes. And every time I end up with Oscar is literally stuck. He's riding a $600 scooter with a $900 helmet.
God damn, I love Johnny Mac's bike. I'm sorry. He was showing me the CB1. I love that thing.
And that's a good one. And I'm riding through Mexico, and Oscar's going like, okay, Oscar's up on the curb. He's up on the sidewalk for like, I don't know, a couple blocks. And I'm like, well, I guess I got to go on the sidewalk because I don't know. I have no idea where I am. So
yeah, I forgot about that word.
Yeah. It was fucking terrifying because we had to get to the bar before it closed. So
it's always funny. It's always fun when you're riding with a guy and he's like, "Oh, you're so permissive with this."
Yeah,
I'm just gonna do what he does, and
just follow me, guys.
I had absolutely no idea. And Emmy was riding with us, and so we're blasting, like we're fucking every law in Ensenada. Like we are really being terrible to the whole city. And we're up on sidewalks and we're down off of sidewalks and we're through gas stations as shortcuts and shit. And I'm looking at Emmy and I'm just like, it's okay. Just stick with us. Just don't lose us. Because we had to get to the bar before sunset because sunset was fucking amazing. And when you're racing the planet, you're really overmatched. Like you can't win unless you really hurry. And that was the case. Like we were literally racing planet Earth.
Against the sun.
Or you're Indiana Jones.
Oh, it was amazing. It was so cool. Yeah. And we did. And we made it. And we made it to the bar in question. And we got to see the sun go down, which was $1 million view. And like they were bringing us blankets and they were like stoking the fire around where we were once we got there. I'm not bullshitting. Like I have to tell you, this shit is insane. That was the Quattro.
Quattros.
Yeah. So like that's one of those things that these guys were all like, "Oh, we should hurry," and this was like a last minute thing. Like if we really, really go super fast, we can make it to Quattro in time. It's just the last 2 miles no motorcycle can climb. So you're gonna have to park your motorcycles and get in the back of a Dodge pickup truck, and they'll drag you to the top of the hill. Wow. Yeah. And for real, we had ridden motorcycles in every condition up to that point, but I knew for a fact that the Mexicans were right. We couldn't ride those bikes up that hill. Like, it was straight up. It was legit. I don't think we could have ridden the bikes up the mountain that the Dodge pickup trucks took us up. Yeah. It was good. So if you guys go to Mexico and you're like in an Ensenada area, because that's pretty much like 10 miles north of Ensenada. Oh, Jesus Christ.
those are the pictures of the actual bar on the hill.
Did you have any shit? So this is the shitter. If you take a look right there in the middle of the screen.
Yeah, this one. Yep.
That's the bathroom. And the
bathroom's got a beautiful view.
The bathroom has got a major, beautiful view.
The bathroom has a better view than any home I've ever lived in.
Wait, this can't be real because everybody in this country says Mexico is just a dirty shithole. So
no, not at all.
Nope.
You see these boats? There's these shrimp boats and stuff that you drive on the road as you're going in. Yeah. So Quattro. This is one of those things. Like if you're in Mexico, you got to go to Quattro. Oscar's not. I mean, we're not fucking around. This is a serious, amazing view. Yeah. And they start fires up. They kind of get you set up, and they'll bring you food and drinks and everything else. It is extremely cool, and I'm so glad that we made it there in time for the sunset because that place, it's just impossible. And
totally worth it. Yeah.
Is that on that road, that Russian wine road? That's
it's close.
Yeah, it's close.
It's close
right?
to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's so cool. I mean, that's just one of those things. If I ever am back in that area, I will always stop at that bar.
And what a brilliant thing to do to put a bar at the top of the hill because if people get fucked up, at least they're going to roll down and get away from the bar.
We'll wash up on shore somewhere.
It's all good.
Yeah, the funny thing was after we'd been up there for a couple of hours and it got super dark and we had to get back to our bikes down the hill in the back of the Dodge pickup trucks. So it's like the last part of arriving at the bar is you get in the back of a pickup truck and they go up a slope. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty rad.
Who's rocking out to some John Denver over there?
Yeah, somebody's got the...
It's probably McElfresh.
Is it really John Denver or is it...
No, that's not me.
Like a cover.
That guy died in the Bay.
Literally in the Bay.
Where I'm from. Yeah, there's a town called Pacific Grove where I'm originally from, but there's a bench dedicated to him.
out there in the
like a bench that you sit on.
Yeah, because Pacific Grove is known for their really nice, super clean beaches, and it looks if you on a clear day you could see across the Santa Cruz, but like apparently that's the watery grave John Denver lives in now. So
really,
shit.
When he crashed his experimental aircraft.
Was it an experimental aircraft? I thought it was like a Cessna fuck around type thing.
It was a an easy long canard airplane, or who makes those? I don't know.
It wasn't a Rutan or nothing like that. Right?
It was a Rutan easy long. Yep.
Right. Or was it easy wider? He was just flying a giant roller.
Himself into the ocean.
I have an actual a question. Oscar, how is Mexico dealing with COVID-19?
I think overall it's kind of chill. I mean, they're still doing like on the shopping malls and stuff. They're kind of just
chill.
The distancing stuff.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, they closed like the movie theaters and like the massive places where
brothels,
people gathering and stuff. But other than that, they are doing some of that temperature checking. I think overall it's just not as harsh as San Diego or in the States.
Is the
Hey, are you in Mexico now, Oscar, or what's going on?
Yes, I'm in Cleveland, Mexico.
Mexico, Ohio.
He's in Parma.
Ohio.
That's international enough for me, man.
It's Parma, Mexico.
He is literally in Parma.
That's where the cheese comes from.
Yeah, where the cheese comes from, yeah.
I think if you had to pick anywhere on a map and say what is the complete opposite of anywhere in Mexico, I think Parma would be the answer.
Parma
is
it.
White Sox.
Yeah, that is exactly it.
Is that part of... Is that the part of the neighborhood in Mexico where there's a bunch of Slovakians or something, or is it Polish?
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like the question we should be asking Oscar is, with the COVID-19 pandemic, how is Parma dealing with the pink shortage?
Well, they had
apparently I'm riding my moped to the corner store anyway.
I
so.
love that.
And do you still get a free pierogi with every beer that you buy?
Right.
You guys are making
nothing wrong with that.
No,
I would love to get a pierogi. Yeah.
Yeah, that is literally of all the places when Oscar decided to come to Cleveland, and we were like, "Oh, you should totally live in Lakewood. It's really hip. It's really cool. It's awesome. It's great." And Oscar was like, "Well, what about Parma?" And I was like, "Well, they got in a lot of trouble for not letting black people live there."
I was like,
I should buy a house there. And so then for a while it was Oscar and our friend Jackie, who's also not white, living in a house together in Parma. And Parma is one of those things, like, it is the punchline of many, many jokes for being extraordinarily Polish and
ethnic.
Actually, my neighbor doesn't speak English. She just speaks Polish.
It's they used to joke. It's they would say, instead of saying it's a Polak joke, like, how did the Polak break his arm raking leaves?
He fell out of the tree.
Yeah. So instead of saying that, they would just how did a certain ethnic. So how did a certain ethnic gentleman break his arm raking leaves? Well, we all knew that meant Polak. Like, that was just pink flamingo, White Sox.
Yeah. Speaking of Big Chuck and Little John, that was like a classic bit on this local TV show we had, Nak, where it would be literally a certain ethnic, and it would be like a classic.
And they were wearing like Polish sweaters, and it was horrible. It was great.
That was the whole deal.
They're like 79 years old, and they're still doing it.
Yeah, if you've owned I'm trying to remember everything that was built in Lorraine, as far as like what Ford built in Lorraine, and didn't Chevrolet have an assembly plant over there too? But everything. Like any mid-size American car that your parents owned, was probably built by Polish people in Lorain, Ohio.
Absolutely,
lived in Parma.
Guaranteed. And
Parma has Chevy Boulevard.
Yes, exactly, Chevrolet Boulevard. We actually have to go to Chevrolet Boulevard to get our titles made. Yeah.
Did we ever get the Chris Smith joke of the week?
No,
not yet.
Well, we got the leaf raking one, so you're gonna have to top that one, Chris, because that one is pretty good.
You said you had a joke. You're up.
Dude, that is the fire pit shot right there. Yeah. That's the money shot right there.
That's Quattro Quattros.
Yeah, that's Quattro Quattro. That was one of the best days of my life right there.
Nice.
Oscar, that you nailed it right there. That picture was one of the high points of my life. Yeah.
So a woman wakes up in the middle of the night to find her husband's not in bed. She puts on her robe and goes downstairs to look for him. And she finds him sitting in the kitchen table with a cup of hot cocoa in front of him. He appears to be deep in thought, staring at the wall. She watches as he wipes tears away from his eyes. "What's the matter, dear?" she whispers as she steps into the room. Why are you down here this late at night?" The husband looks up from his drink. "It's the 20th anniversary of the day we met." She can't believe he's remembered, and she starts to tear up. The husband continues, "Do you remember the day that we started dating? It was 18 years, and I was 18 years, and she was 15. And once again, the wife is touched to tears, thinking that her husband, I'm losing my place here.
Remembers.
Is so caring and sensitive. "Yes, I do," she replies. The husband
Can you
pauses.
start over?
Your phone cut out.
You were muted.
So she says, "Do you remember the day when my father caught us in the back of our car?" "Yes," he remembers. He says, "Do you remember when he shoved the shotgun in your face and said, 'Either you marry my daughter or I'll make sure you spend the next 20 years in prison?'" "I remember that too," she says. He sighs and wipes away another tear and says, "I would have gotten out today."
Okay,
the delivery was shit, but you guys got the punchline.
Yeah,
We still laughed.
Cause marriage.
That's super cool. Oh, man. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yep.
Yeah, and that was 3 bourbons later, so always catch me at the beginning of the podcast.
You know, I was...
Question. Does anybody know, are any of the title bureaus still processing titles?
No, not in Ohio. Yeah, no, they're pretty much all done.
No, I'm riding dirty until June or whenever they open them back up again. All my bikes
and
still
you're allowed
expired.
to. And that's
Well, I just did my renewed my registrations, all 3 of them by online, and I got them in the mail.
That's
Really?
the only way you can do it. Yep.
Yeah, but I need a title transfer.
I started looking into that, and I just didn't have my information in front of me. But if you have your license plate number and stuff like that, it looks like you can do it fairly easily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not kidding around. Like the way that they're doing it, the way they're setting up is all the bureaus are closed. So every single one of them, every single bureau is absolutely locked down. So if you can't do it online, you can't do it in person. So if you buy a bike or you sell a bike or you have registration to renew, you can do that online. But as far as the moving of a title, that's completely locked down. And I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but it's actually a really, really big deal right now where Pennsylvania is completely shut down. They're not selling bikes. You can't do that. It's out. And Michigan, same way. Can't sell bikes. Can't transfer title. Can't do any of this stuff. So it's a bad time if you have to do paperwork. Now, Ohio has addressed this by doing our normal. Remember, we used to have 30-day tags? Mm-hmm. And then we got computers and everything was moving faster. So we got 45-day tags. Mm-hmm. And then COVID happened and now we have 90-day tags. So you get a 90-day tag if you buy a bike in hopes that in 90 days, all this shit's going to be sorted out. So
yeah,
that's the deal.
My KLR 650 is in quarantine until I can get a fucking tag for it.
Just go ride it, dude. Nobody's going to write you. Go ride it.
Yeah. How's law enforcement out there? I mean, are they super strict with all this stuff, or are they just kind of like, nah?
This is funny. I saw a law enforcement situation happen relating to COVID-19. I leave the house one day a week to grocery shop, and any supplies I need, I go to the hardware store that's across the street. Because they also sell it's Menards, so I get the cat food there and the cat litter there, and I get bedding for the chickens.
27 pounds of gummy bears.
27 pounds of gummy bears. So I was working around the house and I had a bunch of cardboard from a tool cart that I bought, and I loaded it in the back of the truck and I took it down to the elementary school to go recycle the cardboard. Yeah. And there's 4 kids playing basketball, and a cop rolls through, looks over at me, glares. I thought he was mad at me for being out, but like I realized it was one of those get a load of these assholes looks. And he turns his lights on and chases the kids out of the park that are playing basketball, because they like were very clearly not related to each other in like a biological sense. So he, I thought that was pretty interesting to see how seriously they're taking that. Yeah. I thought I was going to get in trouble for dropping cardboard off, but I was alone.
You're looking at kids, I guess. I don't know.
No, like it clearly wasn't that kind of look, because like I had my gloves on. I was like shoving cardboard into the thing.
If you're going to commit any illicit activity, make sure you do it alone.
Yeah, exactly.
And with gloves. Yeah.
And with gloves.
Also, what are you supposed to do if you're buying a bike from in like a private sale?
So that's an excellent question. So what you're going to do is you're going to do your transaction, and if you can find a notary to go ahead and notarize the seller's information on the back of the title, that's great. And then you're going to end up with a title that has been notarized, and you have that document in your hands. You're going to go to your you're going to try to go online, and you're going to try to get a 45-day, 90-day plate for it online. You're probably not going to be able to do it. And I'm going to tell you, fuck it, ride dirty, man, because everybody's aware of the shit show that's going on right now. And we have sold an undisclosed number of motorcycles to people, and we've put 90-day tags on the back of their bikes, knowing full well that we're not sure whether or not the title bureaus are going to be open within the next 90 days to be able to, close the deal. So, and that's just where we are right now. It's a very fucking Wild West. It's totally Deadwood.
Right, because I noticed on the website you could renew a registration. You can't get a new registration.
Oh, and here's the biggest ball buster of all. All of the e-check stations are 100% shut down, including the fucking kiosks, which are just fucking computers. Wow. And you could roll up and do that shit with nobody there. Out of spite, they closed those fuckers down. Since the humans can't be working, apparently the robots can't be working either. So equal rights for robots and humans, the e-check fucking sites are closed down. So if I have the capacity, which I haven't used a human being to e-check my shit in fucking 5 or 6 years, I always use the robot, and the robots are closed.
Okay, what's an e-check machine, and does it come in a pleasure model?
So Nak, the e-check is it 7 or 8 counties in Ohio? I think it's just 7.
It's basically Cuyahoga County and Franklin County, Columbus and Cleveland,
Grange, Yaga,
Summit,
Lake,
and any county that touches them.
So out of Ohio's 88 counties, it is a literal handful of counties that are, basically metro areas where they do emissions testing for cars that are 20. It's a rolling 25-year exemption.
Right.
So
it's the only counties you want to live in.
It's the only counties you'd want. That's exactly what Phil said. So the situation is that up until recently, they would have to maintain like a guy, like some high school dropout with one finger in his nose running a chassis dynamometer, and they'd have to chase down somebody that could drive stick if you bought a car with a stick. But now the rolling 25-year exemption has finally hit the point where almost everything is OBD2. So the only thing that will have to exist is the kiosks, and they're actually thinking of getting rid of e-check because e-check does not apply to any new car.
Well, the bill has already passed the House. So the bill has already gone through, and it's literally, I hope and I pray that someday, but today I'm still just a bill. Schoolhouse Rock, man. It's literally that point, and then COVID hit. So we were teetering on the edge of losing e-check forever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
See, I didn't realize you guys had emissions checks or control, because I know folks in Oregon, they have one, but it's like super lax or something like that.
Yeah, ours is so lax. Like, how it's supposed to be able to pick up if you flash off a code and then you'll get checked immediately after that. I flashed a code in the parking lot and gotten an e-check and passed with the kiosk before.
And I took,
but back in the day, they used to fuck. So I had a CRX that I had a B16A swap in with the 3-putt clutch just for drag racing and stuff. I still drove it on the street. So I had to take it there, and I had this fucking schmuck that was like, oh, yeah, it's a stick. Mind you, also, the car was 2 inches off the ground at the best. So you have to get on these fucking rollers and everything. This fucked my whole car up, dude. He got in there. He's like he couldn't get the clutch to work because it was a fucking racing clutch. It was off or on. There was no there was no feathering it.
Yeah.
He almost drove the thing off the fucking the dollies because he nailed it, and the fucking car had a turbo on it. It kicked in, and the whole thing was going on. He was just like, I'm just going to pass you, dude. I don't know what to do with your car. And I was like, thanks. So this whole process has been stupid for so long. It's just,
Ohio E-Check is probably has historically probably been the only place in America where you can run a chassis dynamometer without at least a high school diploma or a 2-year.
And they didn't strap the cars down. They just drove it onto the rollers, man.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Ohio E-Check is and it was basically it translated to a poor people tax is what it translated.
Yeah, that's true.
Because
that's exactly right.
It didn't cut down on pollution from So in Ohio you can actually get a truck plate.
Right.
It's not a county. You can actually get a plate as a truck. And so if you have a diesel pickup truck that is tuned to run super rich and belch black smoke into the air, even though it's 5 or 6 years old, you don't have to worry about running E-Check if you pay the extra. What is it? It's an extra $50 a year to get a truck plate.
Yeah, it's about $120. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, a regular plate's $50, $75 or something, right? So I mean, it's there's so many different ways around E-Check. It's just such a waste of money. And the problem is that if you're poor or you're broke, you probably don't have access to the resources to get around E-Check, and you're also more likely to have a car that's fucked.
Hey, Kim, let me ask you a question. What does it cost to do E-Check?
It doesn't cost anything to do E-Check.
Perfect.
Because we pay for it in our taxes every year.
It used to cost $20 a throw.
But my point is, it's not about costing money on E-Check. It's telling people that have an emissions code for some evap hose that's brittle and cracked because their car's 15 years old.
Unless you have $100 worth of service bill.
Yeah, and you got to pay.
Then you get passed instantly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's absolutely a poor person tax.
Horseshit. Yeah.
It's complete horseshit.
You guys do get non-California. Sorry, was that?
Hey, John.
No, so you guys get the non-California version of motor vehicles, right? Or are you starting to see more of those, or does that?
Yeah, realistically,
it depends. A lot of things come in with the California stuff in them, and we just rip it out.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think a lot of things nowadays are 50 state. Certified.
Yeah, so the most recent car I saw knock that was unique for California was the N52 BMW engine.
Okay.
Let me think here. But it was a different engine code.
But realistically, for most of our stuff, for the motorbikes and everything else, canisterectomies are extremely popular.
Yeah. So we do that in California too. There's no emissions testings for bikes, so they just out the door.
California fucked over Super Trap and fucked over a lot of our friends here in town who build exhaust systems. And when you look at all the different Wiseco and all the different companies who make really cool OEM shit, really cool American aftermarket performance tuning shit, California really caused these guys a lot of grief. And we had friends that worked at Super Trap, and we had friends that worked at aftermarket.
Super Tramp.
Yeah.
Played for Super Tramp.
Yeah. and because of the California law, they got a couple of $1 million of fines thrown at them.
Oh, shit.
For even just suggesting that you might put an aftermarket exhaust system on a particular motorcycle at the motorcycle shop where the bike was being sold. So it's gotten weird for a long time. And around here, having E-Check loosened up is kind of a big deal, because for about the past 20 years in our county, and like we joked, any county you want to live in, you've had to play the E-Check game.
Yeah. And pollution's not really a thing over there, right? I mean, there's like geographically the weather and climate kind of just, it doesn't linger like it is in LA or wherever.
Yeah,
I mean, and obviously we're a lot less industrial than
our river catches on fire every so often, but
check that river.
What was I going to say about? Oh yeah, so BMW, the last normally aspirated inline six that they put in the 3 Series, the N52. California got their own version of it called N51, and when I worked at a German aftermarket parts company, we sold OEM and aftermarket parts, and we had the catalogs built. We got bought out by a California investment company, and when they found out about the whole N51, N52 thing, when we were still selling a bunch of N52 parts, they're like, well, why aren't you servicing California? Why aren't you adding the N51 shit? And it's like, it's an engine sold in one state, and it would cost you X number of dollars to get me to add this stuff to the catalog. And
is it because you have to warehouse the actual material in your locale, or like?
No, it was, so what it was basically we would have to build an entire parts catalog separately for a car. The way our system was built up, if we added that extra engine code in, we'd have to go back and redo a bunch of stuff. We'd have to add a bunch of stuff exclusive to it. And before this investment company came on, we had decided, or my brand manager had decided, not worth the effort. And after talking over with the investment company, it was decided not worth the effort. So there are a bunch of people that are probably neighbors to the people that actually pulled the purse strings at the company at the time that could not buy parts from us because we didn't sell the specific N51 parts for them. Like, oil change service kits were the same, brake service kits were the same, but anything emissions related, we just didn't touch because it wasn't worth it. We had a situation when the ruling like that Phil was talking about came out where we had to start changing up our process, and like we couldn't ship a part unless we got a PDF signed from people that lived in New York or California that I am not going to install this on a car for public use.
Well, an actual affidavit sign, huh?
Yeah, they had to sign an affidavit to us and basically lie so that if there was any issue, it would fall on them and not fall on us for selling the part.
I think we're losing Johnny Mac.
Wooden bumpers. I mean, we got shit that is barely held together so a person can get there, to get to work so they can support their families on a $900 car. And it's one of those games where it's the e-check thing was always a joke because you're like, okay, I got a $500 car or a $900 car. I'm going to do anything I can to keep that fucking thing on the road, including having my buddy down the street. I'm going to give him $50 so he can write me a fake invoice for $300 that says he changed the spark plugs and he changed the air filter, and it still doesn't pass. And once you have a document from a shop that says you've done that $300 worth of magical work, then instantly you're exempt from the e-check because you tried.
Yeah. There's definitely a Florida vehicle ownership over there, like anywhere else, I guess.
Yeah. So it's a weird thing. So we're happy to see it go. But it is funny because I still get people in my shop every day that are like, oh, well, I don't know if I want to have you do a canisterectomy on my motorcycle because we might have motorcycle e-check someday. And I'm like, we are never going to have motorcycle e-check. Because motorcycles are insane when it comes to, like, you couldn't get these, like you were mentioning earlier, minimum wage people to be able to do a fucking e-check on a motorcycle. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. Plus, every Harley, every Hayabusa, every Katana with a 9-foot-long swing arm would fail explosively, so we're cool. That's it. You're like, don't worry about that shit. Yeah.
It's funny. We get vehicles from, we're really close to the Pennsylvania border. I don't know if you figured that out when you visited, but we are remarkably close to the Pennsylvania border. Ohio's a big state.
No, by a law, if you're an Ohio resident, you have to have at least 2 relationships with people from Pennsylvania.
Very true. Yeah. They can last a night. They can last a year. It just, it counts either way. Pennsylvania has state inspections on vehicles that are actually like more safety related.
Yep. Yes, they do. Like in Pennsylvania, like they inspect a lot of things. Yep. So it's not just your emissions. You can't have any holes in your bodywork. You have to have good tires. You have to have good brakes.
So
It's more than just emissions.
So Lake Erie is a freshwater lake, but right on top of a big salt mine. If you've ever bought Morton salt with the little girl in the yellow dress and the umbrella, that's from Lake Erie. So we use a shit ton of salt on the roads, and it eats the cars up here. And Pennsylvania used cinders, I believe, until within the last decade. So you can find cars that have failed emissions or failed state inspection in Pennsylvania that guys will buy and bring over the state border. Or you can go over there and get them yourself. And I've gotten some amazing deals on some really nice older cars that way. I don't know if you guys ever saw my Jetta, but I bought this beautiful rust-free Jetta. Okay, beautiful is a stretch, but a really nice rust-free Jetta that I bought for $695.
What year was it? What kind? Was it like a
Mark II? It was a Mark II Wolfsburg. So, I mean, it was an 8-valve automatic, nothing special, but it was a winter car for me. And I had an old set of 4x100 winter tires that I threw on. And, I mean, the radiator was bad. The valve cover gasket was fucked up, as they always are on the 8 valves. And I would put a 99-cent quart of Menards oil in it every week. And I would put a $7 gallon of coolant every two or 3 weeks. And
put that mystery jizz in there.
Yeah, and I found out later the alternator was bad. I put a new battery in it, and it ran off the battery for like almost 7 months. I mean, but it was. I still have the car. Like, I've turned it into a project car because it's an old car and it's interesting and it's like completely rust free and clean. And it's like I have to do something with it. And it was $695. And you find shit like that all the time in Pennsylvania.
I bought my Jeep Grand Wagoneer in Pennsylvania. And I drove it for probably, it was in pretty good shape. Nothing rusted out on it. But within about 4 years of having it here, it just fucking cheesed out. Like the rocker started going, everything started rusting out on it. It was just.
Ohio really kills cars. Like if you have, you have to have at least 2 cars. If you have a car you love, you have to have at least 2 cars. I bought a brand new car in 2011 and I went to go do my brakes for the first time. Do new pads at like 35,000 miles, and I was going to put stainless braided brake hoses on.
Yeah.
And after 3 winters, I was afraid of taking the hoses off at the fittings because they were so rust welded on. So that was 3 winters, and that was a brand new car.
In my garage right now, at this exact moment, in my garage, I have a 1987 Honda Super Magna that has not run in at least 5 years.
Ouch.
I have the title for it. I have virtually the whole machine. I believe I have a new front rim. The back rim has a 90-degree accident in it. The long and short of it is the bike was amazing and perfect in every single way, except for the fact that I'm an idiot and I drag race somebody and I hit a concrete center median island at like 60 or 70 miles an hour.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. It was when myself and Dr. Waters were just dating, and we were racing somebody and winning extravagantly until I decided to go left of center and pass another car to really seal the deal. And then when I went left to center to pass the car, there was a fucking goddamn 8-inch curb there for a center median thing that I hit at full authority. And consequently, me, her, and the bike all went like airborne at the same time. And it just fucked both the front and the rear rim and all the fork seals and everything in between.
But you got some that night, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And when we did land on the planet again, so we landed back on Earth, but we were in the oncoming lanes of traffic. And then I just dove into a bowling alley parking lot on a front rim that had a giant 90-degree cut in it, and oh my god, 90-degree cut in it. And if you guys know anything about the Honda Super Magna, you know the back wheel is a giant fucking aluminum disc, and the front's a 5-spoke piece of beauty, a 19-inch beautiful front wheel. So long and short of it is, simply put, that bike's in my garage right now, leaning against the wall. And I have zero interest in ever making it a motorcycle ever again. So, if you like V4s, like that, yeah. If you like those,
scissoring,
and you might be interested in that shit. I got one of those.
I like them. I don't like pulling the carbs out of them or the airbox.
What I recommend is if you're going to take the carbs off, just take the motor out of the frame. Like the frame and the motors, take the frame and the motor, like take the motor out totally. Yeah, you'll be good. And if you do that and you rebuild the carbs outside, but don't take the carbs apart. The carbs have to stay together. Because with any V4, if you take these carburetors and take them apart, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the way those work. Whether it's a VMAX, nope. Interceptor, nope. A Magna, nope.
No.
A Sabre, nope. If it's a V4, don't ever take the carbs apart. If it's a Yamaha Venture, don't take the carbs apart. Like what Japanese had put together, let no person ever take apart. Yeah. So there's one of those out there. If anyone's interested, that's out there in my garage right now.
Don't
when
do
you
this.
say that about the V4s, it's like the GL four cylinders are the same way. The four carburetors are a pain in the ass.
Yes, exactly. It is the hardest situation ever I've ever worked on. I don't know if anybody's ever tried to do this shit, but like whether it's a 500 Interceptor or an 1100 Interceptor, the V4 deal is a bullshit situation. Like Honda made that shit to be used one cycle, and if you ever let that cycle stop, you're fucked.
It's like it's zippered in there, you know, like it has to fit in there. Like
it's the game. If it works one time. And after that, fuck you. Yeah, that's it. So anyway, that's this year. I would love to get that V4 Magna out of my garage.
How many pieces is it in?
One.
Why has it not have been? Why hasn't it been to Mid Ohio? It just didn't have the time for it previous years, or
it's not holding my garage up, but it's in the vicinity of holding my garage up. Like
Phil, somebody you might want to reach out to her is that Ray Bayless guy.
Oh, yeah.
He was a V4 Magna guy. He had the Super Magna.
Super Magna?
If he wants one for a parts bike or just give some money for a second.
Yeah, that's the one thing this year, my project is to get that that motorcycle out of my garage. So
I'm like addicted to parting things out now. I got to be honest with you. Working on parting out 2 Corvettes, it's like the greatest thing in the world.
Oh, the side panels, all the parts on a V40 2.5, which is a 699 cc Super Magna, or a V45 750 Super Magna. Those parts are all extraordinarily valuable. And I have all of them holding my garage up. So, you know.
I could help you out with that if you don't find a guy that wants it. Because what got me into parting cars out is my buddy, I'm home all day.
Yeah.
My buddy Kyle has this 93 Corvette that he bought literally just for the transmission.
Right.
And I would go over there, drink a couple beers with him,
right.
Smoke a little devil's lettuce. We'd pull some parts off. I'd bring them home in the truck, and people would come up, during the day and pick them up. So and I would list them, and I would deal with all the boomers and tire kickers. Right. And no offense to any boomers that might be listening, but when you're dealing in C4 Corvette parts, there are a lot of boomers that think
there are. Absolutely.
That think that a rear bumper should still cost $25, and you're an a-hole for trying to get $150, which is half of what eBay wants before shipping.
I guess they didn't learn the lesson of inflation and just the rarity of things.
That's really what it is. I will never say that, for the most part, I will never say, any C4 Corvette part is rare.
Yeah.
But I will admit that there are some that are more valuable to people than others.
Hey, John.
But
Austin.
Hey, John.
Motorcycle parts are small.
What did you pay for your Corvette?
How much should I pay for my Corvette?
Yeah, what did you pay for your Corvette?
I didn't pay for my Corvette.
And yet, you have a Corvette.
Yeah, I got a Corvette.
That's why I have two that I'm parting out now.
Would Snoop Dogg say that you got your Corvette for Rizzle?
For shizzle manizzle.
We can't get health care, but dudes just get free Corvettes. That just happens.
Dude, if you are at this point in your life, if you are of a certain age, you should just get a Corvette for free.
There you go.
But it's a
president.
But it's a C3.
Free Corvettes for everyone.
C4.
Okay, I'm sorry. So you get a C4 Corvette. It is the exact same as like an income tax credit. You get a C4. So if you're a white dude of a certain age, you get a free C4. Because
so there's two groups here. If you're between 28 and 35, you get a free C4 that needs work.
Is there a further deductible on mullets?
Yeah. And if you're like 58 to 65, you just get a free one that's nice.
Okay.
What do I get if I'm 49?
You get the cheap project car.
Clearly, you get a C4.
Yeah, you get a C4.
A C4.
Johnny Mac got the wrong one. Johnny, you're the older age group. You should be getting the one that's already done, and I should be getting the shitty project car ones.
Think about this for a minute, though. With COVID-19 taking out everybody over 65, the market is going to be flooded.
You got to remember. I
totally agree.
You got to remember who was buying late C4s, especially new. That's why they're so cheap now. They sold like 30,000 of them almost every year. Or more in a lot of cases. And a lot of the guys that bought those cars new are aging out of them or unfortunately passing away. And there's a lot of baggage associated with those.
Cameron, you're exactly right. I'm completely convinced that right now, well, no, not right now, but in 90 days, you're going to be able to buy a Honda ST1300 for no dollars. You're going to be able to buy any of the Gold Wings after 1996 for no dollars because COVID will have killed all their owners. And I mean, honestly, every 100th anniversary Harley Davidson should be free.
When you buy a big,
but that's the best looking anniversary color combo: the silver and black and
silver and blue.
I think they should have been free regardless. But
in a couple of weeks,
exactly.
We're going to go to fast food places. They're going to hand you Buicks with them. They're like,
you know, I got rid of my LeSabre way too early.
Yeah, there you go.
I should have waited until it was worth nothing. Yeah, but. I'm not joking. I really do think that this is a weird time for all of us who are truly scavengers of the motorcycle wasteland that is Mid-Ohio. All of those Gold Wings, all of those 1800cc reverse headset, intercom, amazing digital display bikes, they're all going to be free because COVID is going to take away all of the 75-year-old white men in America.
So I got to ask you this.
Not all of them.
They're all going to be in estate sales. Is that where you're going to buy them?
No. So I think a good motorcycle discussion podcast with a really brief intro, is that I think the reason C4s haven't been more and C5s haven't been more popular with my generation is that the baggage attached to them. All of the old guys that hated us for driving anything imported or anything different than what they liked, or if you wanted to go into the local cruise spot, there would be 10 identical red base model Corvettes lined up. Those were really uncool cars because that's what your dad or your grandpa drove. And now enough time has passed that the baggage is gone off those, and now guys like me are starting to go why wasn't I driving, why wasn't I driving older Corvettes 10 years ago? Because this car is everything I've ever wanted a car to do. I got to wonder
more affordable now? Or sorry.
Well, no, I mean C4 Corvettes have been $3,500 cars for 10 years.
Well, no shit.
So it's just your age group figured out that chicks don't give a shit about what kind of car you drive, and you can actually buy a cheap, fun car. It just took people now to figure that out.
So, I mean, it wasn't really that's the thing, though, is my generation never drove cars to impress chicks. We drove cars to impress other dudes on the internet.
Here's the reason I wanted
You can't pretend you have
I wanted
money.
a
If it's not
sports car
Japanese,
that had a
you can't pretend you're
engine
toge
that had
racing.
a stick shift that was convertible, and I wanted it cheap. Operative word being cheap, because I was already on Craigslist looking at them and finding C4s with 75,000 miles for like, $6,000.
So Johnny Mac nailed it, though. I mean, a Corvette does
magically got one for free.
Yeah. A Corvette does everything that
you
want a sports car to do for big, for no money.
So-
But my point is what motorcycle?
Oh, this is a motorcycle podcast. I forgot about that.
My question.
That's one of my favorite
So-
things of all times, and they're so fucking expensive unless you found a way to make them expensive.
So why
on your underwear?
Why aren't these free yet?
Because they're so good that they actually held their value, and now
Why aren't these particular motorcycles as cheap as Hayabusas?
It's fucking bullshit, dude. You would think in California with Craigslist,
Yeah.
everybody knows what they have, and they're like paying top dollar for them.
Right.
And especially finding one that's not wadded up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
if it's in nice shape, that fucker's not under $5,000 anywhere.
Yeah. Yep.
Dude, I mean, not for nothing. I've owned Superhawks. I've owned a number of different V-twin. I've owned Suzuki 1000s. Nothing that I've ever ridden compares to this particular motorcycle.
Fucking brilliant.
Particular motorcycle is strangely exotic. This particular bike is fuck you powerful and strangely weird, and still is not a Hayabusa. I can buy a Hayabusa right now for $3,200, but I cannot buy an RC51 that's good. Every RC51 I see is rad fucked.
I feel like any Honda Superbike that its name starts with RC is just going to be expensive forever to some degree.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. And it's not like they don't deserve to be, because they're incredible bikes. But
and then you have the Nicky Hayden version, and if you have a nice one of those, holy fuck, the Nicky Hayden version's like $7,500 for
big money. I was shocked.
When he died,
it's that bike is fucking crazy because it's a V-twin, but it spools up and revs so quickly for like what you expect you don't expect it from a V-twin, right? Most of the time you're just lumping around, but this thing's like, woo!
That's a good bike, man.
So my question, based on the Corvette question, kind of plays into what you were talking about with Gold Wings and stuff, Bill, just a second ago. But like, what is a bike that is objectively a great bike, and they're in it relatively inexpensive, but they have baggage attached to them that you can't, that it's hard to get over? What is currently like the C4 and C5 Corvette of motorcycles, or will be soon?
Baggers with 29 or 36-inch front wheels.
Yeah, so let's talk about Gen Z, because like Gen X and older millennials like me, we kind of like chopped up all the UJMs from the 70s to make cafe racers. So like, what is Gen Z going to do with all of the Japanese cruisers from the early 2000s?
I don't know what Gen Z is going to do, but so this has been my shit for a long time. And so this is an RC51 that was done by a Japanese genius who turned RC51 into a Black Shadow.
He turned it into one of the most beautiful motorcycles I've ever
That's
played.
pretty bitchin'.
Yeah, and it's a pretty fucking rad bike, and I like everything about it because obviously a Black Shadow. I've never ridden a Black Shadow, but I've ridden a Vincent Rapide, and it was a piece of garbage, and it was a terrible motorcycle. But I can only assume that a Black Shadow is equally bad based on watching like Top Gear and Richard Hammond riding one across England in rain. But if you take a Vincent Black Shadow and mix it with an RC51, that's some pretty decent shit right there. So I would probably ride the fuck out of that if I could own it. And unfortunately, the guy died way too early. And the guy who engineered that just, it was one of those things that like he built an amazing V-twin motorcycle that did everything that the Black Shadow did, but he did it like way better in a modern powertrain with 17-inch wheels, which are arguably a little too small for the design, but that's a pretty badass bike right there. And it's as attractive to me as the Ducati 1000 Classic or Sport Classic was, but with a better motor. So when I look at that, that's a bike that I would be interested in owning, except for the fact that the dude died before I could buy one.
Was it an English dude that built that thing?
Dude.
Japanese? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So that's one of those things that it's just like, it's a magical motorcycle that realistically, to me, everybody's like very, very gay or Camaro for the Britain and a lot of other motorcycles. But that's one of those ones where if you let somebody who's straight up crazy design a motorcycle, you'll end up with an RC51 motor jammed into a classic British styled TT bike. And that's what I'm into. Like that's my definition of pretty fucking cool, you know?
Yeah.
So you gotta, that bike reminds me of something that I've been wanting to ask on the podcast for a while. How do we feel about Mr. Martini bikes in general?
Oh. Go ahead.
You guys know what I'm talking about? I think he's an Italian custom builder, Mr. Martini.
Right. Yeah.
He does like a little bit of everything. Some of his bikes are like really beautiful to me, and other bikes look like really low effort to me, but it seems like they get the same attention because they're built by Mr. Martini.
Right, exactly.
But I think there was like a Sportster he did that had like a CB750 gas tank on it, and it was a good looking bike.
Yeah.
But like people were like losing their minds on like motorcycle sites about it, and I'm like, it's a Sportster with a CB.
Unfortunately, everything that happened in here back in 2002, year of our Lord 2002, 18 years ago, all of this stuff just went away. So like this is pretty rad. I mean, this is a pretty cool bike.
Yeah, that's like prettier than any of the Mr. Martini bikes.
Yeah, it came out of San Diego. It's the big RC51 and the beautiful Vincent inspired chassis. There's some pretty cool shit here. So this is Mr. Lee. Barney Lee put these things together. Do your research. It's really, really a cool platform. As far as I'm concerned, it's one of the things that I would be straight up in line to buy. But again, you know, people die. And when people die, their dreams die with them. So that's what happens. So I
mean, that's a good look though, too, for a bike. I mean, especially when you've had a Ducati Sport Classic in your shop.
Yeah.
And I can see why you really like that look and style with the steel frame.
And then I made the mistake of riding it.
Yeah. It's a real sport bike ergo, man. You're like your nuts are up there and you're really facing down in the front wheel.
You know what's funny is the best bike ever of all of those is the Super Hawk.
Yeah, I like it too. It's very comfy.
And they're like $2,600.
Yeah.
And so you can own a Super Hawk for less than you can own like a, I don't know, Jack Russell Terrier or like a small parrot or a little cockatiel or like a camera or any other shit. Like Super Hawks are under $3,000 and Super Hawks are magical.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those bikes that if you've ever owned a Super Hawk, it is only 32 miles per gallon. So it gets less mileage than the 1980 Dodge Omni.
And it's got a tiny ass gas tank. You're filling that fucker up quick.
But a Honda Super Hawk is probably one of the best and honest and most loyal motorcycles you're ever going to meet. It's a weird thing. Like people who are into Super Hawks, it's a really it's like being in like a weird Masonic order if you like Super Hawks. Yeah.
It's a little culty.
Yeah, it's a little culty.
Maybe that's the answer to the question.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the bike. I don't think the Super Hawk has much in the way of baggage, but I think
No. Anybody who's ever had a Super Hawk will tell you, like, you can have all the GSXRs you want, you can have all the TL1000s you want, you can have all the various different bikes you have, but Super Hawks are straight up legit reliable. You just can't ride them far.
Yeah. Just watch your rec and then cam chain tensioners. Keep an eye on those things, and you should be good to go.
Spoken like a true hobbyist.
Oh, yeah. You guys know what this is?
That's a wiener retriever.
That's a wiener retriever. Named after all your moms.
What is that? A golden dachshund retriever?
It's a wiener retriever. Man.
Is that a dachshundoodle?
Wiener swallower?
It looked like a dachshundoodle.
Knock, that is the classic enthusiast line, isn't it? It's like, yeah, the bike's perfectly reliable. It's not going to give you any trouble, except for, and then you list the thing.
Yeah, mine's got 126,000 miles on its second top end.
Yeah.
I mean,
Super Hawks are
reliable to me.
Dude, people who are into Super Hawks understand that there's a whole different economy when you get into a Super Hawk. Like, it's a weird thing. Like, RC51s are cool, don't get me wrong. They're amazing. But I picked up my Super Hawk in Chicago and rode it home the same day I picked it up from Chicago. And they're magical. Like, they're straight up, they're probably the best ever V-twin bike you can buy. They're really good. So Harley Davidsons are cool, but Super Hawks, yeah, they're better. Yeah, it's just a better machine.
So,
and like,
I think we're at a marathon time at this point.
That was a long ass podcast, man.
Yeah, we're at like 17 hours. I don't even know. I think it's perfect.
The lights in the Costco parking lot just came on, so that's my bad. I'm literally 300 yards, or probably less than that, from a Costco parking lot. I'm in a semi-industrial area.
And it was sunny when we started, and you're 3 hours behind us, so.
The cement plant stopped, and the parking lot lights just came on at the Costco.
Yeah.
the way that the Cleveland Moto podcast normally roll is that we normally stop recording at around 11 o'clock Cleveland time, and we normally go home from the shop at about 3 o'clock Cleveland time.
Yeah.
So that happens.
Yeah.
Anybody else got
Time to sober up, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That usually doesn't happen.
No.
See you 1 p.m. tomorrow.
Oh, we're riding. Oh, we're definitely riding. Yeah. Well, wait, are you?
We expect to
I'm
see
out.
you too.
I'm out.
You're buying a scare?
Wait, who's out?
Oscar, I'm out.
You're out?
No, why?
You can ride the bike.
No, come on, Oscar.
Oscar, I got a shop full of bikes, man. What do you?
Oh my God! Don't tempt me.
Yeah, jump on the fucking BV, dude.
Come on, Oscar.
You want?
Where are we going?
Right, Oscar.
So where are we going?
Nick.
I don't know.
Nick.
I'm in.
Nick's in.
I'm riding my old Super Hawk.
Cam.
Super Hawk.
Oh yeah.
And I have tools.
So wait a second. Okay, Nick.
Yeah.
Fuck the listeners. Let's go deep. What did you figure out with your Super Hawk with the headlight switch?
Yeah.
I forgot about this. So the problem, I'll start by everything that I tested. I tested everything, and I could not figure. The problem was that my Super Hawk, my 1966 CB77, was not charging the battery.
Yeah.
So
Now that came from me via Chris Smith.
Yes.
Back to me, back to you.
Mm-hmm.
But John worked on it.
Right. So this might be John's fault, but I'm not blaming him. So it wasn't charging. After about an hour of riding it, the battery would die. It would be hard to keep running, and you could not restart it.
Okay.
So I tested these stator coils because those typically do short out over time. It's a 50-year-old bike.
Right.
I replaced the rectifier with a silicone rectifier. That wasn't the problem. I cleaned up all the grounds and the engine and the frame and everything, and I continuity tested every single piece of wire in that freaking thing.
Oh man.
No problems. So I went to the headlight because it has a switch on the headlight bucket that you can turn the headlight off. And that never worked for me. It was always on.
Right.
So I took that apart, and I looked at various wiring diagrams, and of course, nothing really matched that completely, because that's how old bikes end up.
I'm not
various
sure
colors aren't what colors that they should be, or certain wires, like the headlight switch on the wiring diagram should have 5 wires coming out of it, but mine has 4. So I don't know what that's all about, but it came down to the wiring on the headlight switch.
Really?
Because when you turn the headlight on Super Hawks, and it's the same way with CB350s or any Honda Twins, is that the stator is a split coil, where there's a low power coil for normal running without the headlight turned on, but there's a high power coil for that automatically turns on
Or
like
the other,
CB50s with the handlebar switch.
It's a yellow and a yellow white wire, or a yellow and a white wire.
Yep. On mine, it's yellow for the low and pink for the high power.
Right.
Oh.
Yep.
So it was never engaging that second coil, and of course, since we're in Ohio and you need the lights on all the time, I always have the lights on. So technically, I haven't tested it yet because I haven't taken it on a long enough ride to actually drain the battery. But tomorrow we're going to find out.
Oh, shit.
Well, I got tools and I got a tire inflator and all that stuff in my back box.
Well, I don't need any of that stuff. I need another battery.
All right, I'll bring one.
You need a good set of jumper cables.
Yeah.
Since you riding tomorrow?
Of course.
Just so you know, Nick,
you should ride the Grim, because I think I'm going to ride the Z125.
I'm not sure they're the same, but I'm pretty sure out in my garage I have a headlight switch. Is that switch good or is that switch bad?
Yeah, no, my switch is good. It just wasn't wired correctly.
Right.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different leads that come off of it, and it's really, you got to really look at a diagram and everything.
Yeah.
I don't remember specifically what happened with that or what I had to do.
If I remember correctly,
I'm pretty sure I did. I've always made sure a bike was charging,
right.
But it's possible that it wasn't charging enough with the headlight on.
Yeah.
So you're running, a loss. You were running at a loss at some point.
Hey, Nick.
It's a race mod. Race modification.
About it that it was confusing at the time because there were so many different leads coming off of that switch to find out how the fuck it actually worked and what it needs. I know enough about them to know that, there are different coils and stuff like that. So, maybe I fucked it up. I'm sorry.
Well, I can confirm
it did live its life for a long time before it finally caught up to somebody.
Hey, Nick, would you say it's possible that coming off of your headlight switch there were 3 possible leads?
What do you mean?
So when you look at a Super Hawk headlight switch, I believe that there are 3 potential leads coming off of that one headlight switch.
Okay. My headlight switch had 4 wires.
Yeah, ground and 3 leads.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been burned by that myself personally numerous times because a headlight switch should have a low beam, high beam, and a ground.
Mm-hmm.
Why is there a 4th fucking
right? Well,
because fuck you, that's why.
Well, I had to look at the wiring diagram because that switch is before it even goes to the handlebar switch. Yep. So there's only coil in, coil out, and then headlight in. It's basically a single throw a single pole double throw switch.
Double throw, yeah.
So one switch movement has 2 separate contacts that make or break contact. One is for the coil circuit, and the other one is for the headlight circuit.
On CB350s, unlike CB350s, they have, when you have the headlight high, off, low, and high over on your right-hand switch gear.
Yep.
What I have done in the past, because I've encountered ones where that was all fucked up, is just taking the white and the yellow and fused them together. So now it's always charging both sets of coils,
Right.
and you can do that.
Yeah.
Or you could have done, but I don't know what happened with your Super Hawk.
I thought about doing that. I thought about doing that too, but I figured, well, if the switch is working, then I might as well have it wired the right way. Instead of just having the two coils together.
I'm sorry.
I don't think you did this, John.
That's all right. Tomorrow we'll find out when we're pushing his fucking bike down the highway.
I wouldn't say I was sorry if I wasn't certain I fucking did it, okay?
Uh-oh, fisticuffs.
Step 1, never admit guilt. Listen to your lawyer. Shut your fucking mouth.
Yeah. Let him figure it out. Actually, that fixed the problem, and then you can fess up if you fucked it up or not. Let him figure it out first.
Oh my God.
All I can say is bring a set of fucking jumper cables tomorrow.
I have a battery tender connector, and I have a lot of those alligator clip things.
I'm going to recommend one wire and another wire.
No, actually, you only need one wire, and then you touch the fucking ground the bikes together.
Yeah, just ground the frames together like old Jeeps.
Across the street.
It's a 6-volt system, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just bump them together.
Put 2 9-volts together.
Okay, so do you guys want to know how fucked up we were in the 80s? This is real. I'm not making this up. This is how we used to do things in the 80s in the motor pool in Europe. We used to pull 2 Jeeps up, and we would touch the hub, like on the hubs of the Jeeps, there was a little lifting link. So it was basically like a little hole in the hub. So you could hook a hook into it and sling load it under a helicopter. And so we would take these basically the middle of the hub of your wheel, and we'd push them up against each other. So that was your negative. And then we would take the turn signal. I'm not shitting you. We would take the positive lead out of the turn signal on the fender. And if you put the wheel hubs against each other, you could take the power lead out of the turn signal off of an M151 Jeep and take it off of my Jeep and reach it over to your Jeep and plug it into your turn signal.
No fucking way.
Yeah. And then
you made him dock.
Yeah. And we had positive power going from my Jeep with a good battery into your Jeep with a dead battery. Our literally the hubs of our wheels were touching each other to make a ground, and our turn signals were touching each other to make the positive.
Did you have to engage it to make it work? Like
what?
Did you have to engage the turn signal?
To the turn signal?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So we're charging, not charging, charging, not charging.
Just turn the turn signals on, and they'd hold each other open, and that would help you get your buddy's Jeep started at 5 o'clock in the morning when you had to get your Jeep started.
So I'll tell you this about the Super Hawk. It gets even better because I'm also the asshole that at one point told Nick that those Super Hawks have 2 sets of coils, and if you turn your headlights on, it helps charge the battery.
I think I was there for that conversation. I remember it happening after a podcast.
But it's some motherfucker didn't wire it the right way. Well,
you're like,
and I can't turn the headlights off, so that didn't help.
No, so that was
yeah.
Johnny Mac, you're in the running right now for history's greatest monster.
Yeah, well.
Okay. So guys, on that, I want you to remember.
You're the fucking electrical engineer. Fuck you.
I know. It took me way too long.
See? You see what I was faced with then.
Log is the great equalizer. Ride fast, take chances. John?
Bum, bum,
I get to actually do this part. That's awesome.
Push the button.
All right, I'm pushing it.
Take us out, Steve. Press the red button.
There's a fucking button. I still.